Welcome to the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate all of you for being here tonight. Please hit the like button and the subscribe and that subscription button tonight. And we're going to have a great show tonight. Please tell everybody about the show. Go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we're going to start the show any moment now. I did put a poll in, guys. Go ahead and answer that poll. I do believe the education system, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but I want to know what you guys think. So go ahead and share this. Let everybody know that we're talking about the education system tonight, because I think it's well overdue that we start concerning ourselves with our children, not as well as our moms and dads and the women and the men, but we got to also start concerning ourselves with our children. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Oh, I see my boy K-Soul in the chat, bro. Man, bro. Oh, my God, man. K-Soul is in the building. My God, what's up, bro? Man, it is so good to see you in the chat tonight, bro. Oh, my God. Listen, man, inbox me, bro, if you want to come up, bro. Email me, whatever you want to do. Man. It will be great to see you tonight, bro. My brother from another mother, man. He's been taking care of family, got a newborn baby, and so I'm so happy that you're back, man. It's so good to see you, bro. I'm so excited I can't hide it, bro. I missed you, bro. All right, man. But if you want to come on, man, please just email me or inbox me on Instagram or Black Man Unfiltered, bro. I will send you the link, man. For sure, bro. I will be back with you guys in 1 minute. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here tonight. This is Black Man Unfiltered Network. It is so good to see you. It's so good to have you guys in the chat. You already know I got to get to the chat before I even turn the camera on. I want to acknowledge everyone that is in the chat that makes this channel possible. All right, this is your host, Black Man Unfiltered. We have Stephen Day in the building tonight. What's going on, family? And also a member of this channel as well. So thank you so much for being here, my guy. All right, then we have Jenny. You already know, listen, the name that don't even have to be spoken about greatness. When you hear Jenny Morena, you already know that there's greatness in the building. So amen to Jenny. It's so good to have her in the building. Then listen, we got K-Soul. Listen, bro, I haven't talked to K-Soul in a minute, bro. He's been with his wife and their new baby. And I know that baby I know that baby is wrapped around your finger. Listen, he was one of the guys, K-Soul is one of the guys that was with me, man, from the beginning, bro. and he left for a while to take care of his newborn baby, his new baby with his wife. And man, it is so good to have you in the building tonight, my brother. It is so good to have you in the building tonight. All right, we got CBN Tech Talks in here. He said, good evening, people, while working out at the gym. He lying. Queso, it's good to see you, my brother. All right. We got Boss Lady Iris in the building tonight. Says, good evening. All right, we got What We Know podcast in the building tonight. My bad. Let's go. Yes, sir. Big Bad Bull in the house tonight. He says, thanks for tuning in, family. Let's get the party started by hitting the like button. Amen. On the way in to elevate us in the algorithm. We appreciate your support as we strive to grow. Amen to that. Scam Likely is in the building tonight. All right. We got Ronnie Hunter in the building tonight. He said, good evening, people. And K Soul says, it's good to be back. Man, I'm glad that you are back, my brother. All right. So, guys, tonight, as you can see, what we're going to be talking about tonight, we will be talking about tonight. Let me get my main. There they go. All right. So we'll be talking about the education system. It's 150 years in, no reform, no change, and kids are suffering. And we want to talk about the suffrage of the kids tonight in the education system, because the education system is horrible. All right. I got a full cast that's going to be here tonight. They'll be in a little bit later. They'll be coming in parts and pieces, but they'll be here tonight. Now, I do want to bring up my brother from another mother's in the building tonight. You seen him in the intro. Let's give it up for my boy. Hold on. We got Stephen Day. What'd he say? Okay. We give it up for my boy. JT is in the building tonight.
What up, though?
What's going on? All right. And then my co-host in the building tonight, until everybody else get here, we got Coach K. Beautiful. Well, hold on, before we bring my co-host up, because you know I like to do her last but not least. Let me get Mr. Bennett in the building tonight. What's going on, Mr. Bennett?
Greetings, everyone. Good to be here. How you doing, JT?
Absolutely, man.
What's going on, brother?
Good to have you. We got Cody is King in the chat tonight. Thank you so much for being here tonight. All right. Last but not least, until everybody else gets here, we got the amazing, the beautiful, the lovely Coach K is in the building tonight. It's so good to see you, Shug. So how's
good
everybody?
Y'all.
Until the rest of the family gets here, how are you doing today, Coach K? We'll start with the lady in the room first.
I'm good. Happy to be here.
Absolutely.
Love my Tuesday nights. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Great.
Doing good. All right. So what about my boy JT? JT, what's going on with you, man?
Hey, busy, man. Busy. That's basically it, man. I'm still living.
Bro, we missed you last night.
I know, bro. I didn't.
We had a hell of a reaction last night, Doc.
I watched it this morning, man. I was so down. I'm screaming at the doggone phone, bro.
Hey,
on my way back to work.
Hold on, I'm gonna get back to you on that. Hold on, give me a second, Mr. Bennett. How are you tonight? How's the fam? How is living in the house with no children right now?
It is good. I'm going to see them on my middle daughter turns 21 on Friday. So she's coming home and her sister is coming home. She'll be 19. Well, she is 19. So they'll be home this weekend. So we'll be a full house. And, so it's good to have get the band back together once in a while, but look forward to Sunday when they got to go back.
Absolutely.
Here for a minute, but then leave them home.
Absolutely. Now we got DL Saint. He's starting the show out tonight with a $20 super chat. All right, DL Saint, thank you so much, man. He said, what's good, fam? I see you always doing great work. Keep leading from the front, brother. Thank you so much, DL Saint, for always. I got a spot for you, DL Saint, if you want to be on the panel tonight, because I have a spot tonight, because we got our sister, Family Values, is ready to have that baby. She's getting ready to have that baby.
Oh, man.
Yeah, she's going to be out for a whole minute. So if DL Saint, if you want to hit me up on IG at Black Man Unfiltered Network, and I'll definitely send you the link, my brother. But yeah, she's getting ready to have that baby. So shout out to her husband, Driscoll, as well as Family Values as they prepare for that little bundle of possibility.
With the new baby smell.
Yeah, that new baby smell, man. And again, thank you for the $20 super chat. Let me see what I can give you. I want to give you something a little funky. I'm going to let my admin do it. Admin, give him something a little funky. I think Sister Shirley.
bitch, I'm on the rail. I rap it, I bag it, I pack it for sale. Got feeling on speed out, hit me to chill. I give it a thrill, I put it on film. Niggas beside get applaud, that ain't real. Come to my section and flex, we can tell. I got a show and she dipping them nails. I'm flipping my L's, I know they can tell. I did it too major, they hit me for favors. Been him since the cable was cut in the cradle.
All right. Thank you so much for that $20 super chat. All right. So again, man, Running Hunter said, make it funky. He said, I have a meeting in 20 minutes. I'll hit you up after if it's not too late. All right, my brother. All right. Then we got Stephen Day say, Coach K, hey, best friend. Oh, Coach K got some fans in this thing tonight. All right.
I see him everywhere.
Absolutely. So guys, tonight we're going to be talking about the education system. And before we get to the big part of the plate, let's start off with the appetizer here. What are your thoughts? JT, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the education system right now?
Oh man, it's not a system at all that's conducive for 100, like the title say, for 150 years, man. It hasn't been conducive for anyone to actually be able to innovate. You have to actually break through that system that you were taught, and you actually have to start grasping it from, when you get older. Me, myself, there's a lot of things that I felt that I was behind the power curve. Once I got to traveling and start competing with people from other, sectors of the world, man, it really taught me how far behind I was. I was like four years behind my counterparts. And so I had to learn and re-educate myself all over again. And through my whole journey, 50 years that I am now, I'm 50 years old and I'm still, catching up. Still catching up.
Man, I understand. Mr. Bennett, what are your thoughts on the current education system?
Well, I don't think it's in a great place, but you can hit it from so many different sides up. That's a very broad question, because there's issues on the teaching side, there's issues on the institutional side, what the students are learning, how teachers are compensated, and really just an idea of what is the aim of the educational system. I think we need to start asking that. Is it about equipping people for life, or is it about social engineering? What are we trying to accomplish in these times? And then it's hard to answer because a lot of the education system, you can't even nationalize it, because take one system in an urban setting versus in a more affluent setting, it's like apples and oranges. I mean, people make decisions in terms of where they live based on the educational system, or they have to pay for private school in the area that they're in if the local school system isn't there. So it's just so many layers, but there's so much inequity across the board. So for me, it's going to be very difficult to say, to talk about it just as this monolith as one system. I think there's a lot of systems that are out there, and I don't think we have a concrete path or a concrete reason. Like, what is the purpose in education? What are we trying to do? Are we trying to indoctrinate? Or are we trying to just prepare with life skills for them to go forward? It's really, those are for me like deeper questions. Like, what is the aim of everything, and why there's so much inequity across the stratum? There's just so much. So those are things I would bring up. But I think overall it's not good. But I would even go back and say, well, when was it good for everybody? You're talking about a system that is in place basically to support the agricultural system. You got the summers off so that you can pick the vegetables in the summer and then go back in the fall. So we've been still operating under that model for the last 150 years, where, as JT was saying, you have other systems that are ahead of us because they don't have summers off like we have here. But that was based on an old model, and we just kept it. And but you have people who are starting to pass us. But in some instances, we still have the best in the world because people still come here for education. You don't have a lot of people going overseas to study. You got people coming here. So you still have that going on as well. But it all depends on what you have access to. And not everyone has the same access.
Right. All right. And we got my brother Hink in the house tonight, as well as Mandrell. What's going on, my guys? So Coach K, we'll get to you. Coach K, what do you think about the education system right now? Or do you think it's failing our children?
You're going to me, right? Me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, one thing's for sure, it's not good. And as Mr. Bennett said, there's so many different variables that come into play, so many different things that you can look at and why it's failing. And some things that I'm already like thinking about are kind of what. Sorry, I'm gonna steal some of your stuff, Mr. Bennett. But like,
No
yeah,
problem.
what's our goal for these kids? You know, are we wanting them to learn, or just, you know, basically retain information versus just so that they can, you know, memorize and put it down on a test versus actually learning? And then we know that, you know, when kids don't connect with what they're learning, they're not going to actually learn. It's, you know, they're just
You're teaching to the
regurgitating
test.
it. Right. And then also too, we have teachers unions, you know, the spending per student, school choice, family. I think family involvement is a huge thing. Like, what are the students doing behind the scenes? You know, the parent involvement, but then also too, what comes into what I do is the beliefs that students have when it comes to what they can achieve, and some of the, you know, limitations that we all as humans have, in terms of self-doubt and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's not good. That is for sure.
All right. So, brother Hink, what do you think the status of the education system is right now?
That's not good. But I've said this many times before. Teachers are severely underpaid. Kids shouldn't be in school for no 8 hours. Not a big fan of the public school system because the treatment of public compared to private is a big difference. It's not on the equal playing field, especially in the sports realm. But yeah, just a couple things.
Okay, all right. Mandrell, thank you for being here tonight. Mandrell, what do you think the state of the education system is in the country today?
I think everybody.
For that commentary, brother.
You're welcome. You're quite welcome. Listen, everybody's being nice about it, but this is why nothing gets fixed. You don't call it for what it is. It's absolute shit. It may as well not exist. No one's learning anything.
Right.
Like Coach K said, all they do is teach to the test.
Right.
That's literally all they do. These standardized bullshit tests, that's what they teach for. And they do that so that, you know, they can report good test scores for standardized testing and get more funding. And these private schools, which receive federal funding, by the way, to Hink's point, they're supposed to be private, which means they charge tuition. Some of it ridiculous tuition, but they still get federal funding. Why the federal funding? And if you're going to have federal funding, why are they getting more resources than public schools? No one's answering for that.
Well, I don't know about
where that is, Mandrell.
But in Kentucky, private schools don't get no federal funding.
That you know of. But I guarantee you they do.
I'm looking up the stats now, so I just want to make sure.
No, they in Kentucky, they don't get no federal funds.
Okay,
private,
fair
right?
enough. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was going to ask. I'm like, Mandrell, what?
Yeah. No, I'm talking about those private schools that people send their kids to school 40, 50 grand a year. Though.
Yeah, they don't get federal funds in Kentucky. Now, I don't know about other states. In Kentucky, they don't.
Okay, fair enough, Kentucky. But y'all may not have schools like that, where they're paying 40 grand a year for them kids to go to high school and junior high school. 40 grand a year for that. They receive federal funding. They got busted. I know this because they got busted doing that.
Every state's got private schools, man. Every
I
state.
get it, but it doesn't change the fact that they've been caught doing
Alabama got some private schools.
Alabama ain't as broke as Kentucky, but yes, we do have private schools. In fact, when I started school, my parents started me off at a private school, but it's no one teaches you about money. That's my biggest problem with school. You never learn about money. You don't even learn about taxes. People leave high school, don't know how to fill out a W-2, no idea what a 1099 is.
And
you know what I mean?
They taking out cursive.
Yeah, go ahead, because we got a teacher in the house tonight. So thank you for being here tonight, Harrison Family Values. I appreciate you, brother.
Man.
He is a school teacher, so I'm really wanting to hear what he has to say after Beautifully Animated. Go ahead, Beautifully Animated.
No, I'm agreeing with Mandrell. Like they've taken out writing cursive, right? And as far as I know, when it comes to things as money, you have to sign. What is your signature? That is cursive. That is writing in cursive. Why did you
but nobody puts a signature anymore either. I see guys literally do this, and that's their signature, and it's accepted. Nobody even cares anymore.
Yeah, but
then how do I know who signed it?
But that's
it doesn't matter though.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You're not actually putting a pen to paper no more like you used to. You e-sign.
Queen Smiley, check your messages, honey.
No, you still have to. You still have to sign for things. Some things.
You don't. No,
you gotta, I signed.
You don't.
Well, I have.
Well, and my thing is this. What was it?
That's the reason why.
Fair enough. And maybe Harrison Family Values can help me out with this, but
did you say right?
Hold on. So they don't teach cursive. What are they gonna do next? Not teach you to read and write? Okay, right. My thing is like, what was their reason to stop teaching cursive in school? And to my understanding, math is different for somehow. I don't know what that is. That's about either. What is their reason for taking cursive writing out of school? And why is nobody protesting this?
Because right now, go ahead. You're the teacher in the house. Go ahead, my brother.
So there's a couple of reasons why. The main reason, and let me just say, I thought like this before I became a teacher. So the thinking is, well, the logic is this: you're teaching cursive to students who are, and they start practicing. If I remember correctly, I was starting to do cursive 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, but we're teaching cursive to students who can barely read. So what we're trying to do is teach them a skill that requires reading and writing, and they can't read and write. So the logic is, instead of focusing so much on that, let's try to get our students to a place where they can, read and write, where they can be.
Sense.
So it's not like they
no,
trying to remove.
No.
It actually does make sense. So
if they can't even read, how are they supposed to?
But that's supposed to be done already. That's supposed to be.
Hold on, let me finish.
Now, if I may, I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, but how are you in 3rd grade and can't read?
But that's the thing, all right?
That's the country we in.
It happens. Like when kids can get to 3rd grade, there's students in high school that are on a 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade reading level. Okay, it happens. Schooling now has become, and again, schooling is very different from state to state. The government has almost zero control as far as what happens in public schools. So according to the Constitution, schools are run by the state, not the government. The federal government pretty much has a hands-off approach to schooling, unless there are federal funds that are not that are a little extra. For instance, the sister wrote about grants, right? Private schools are able to get federal funds through the form of grants. So they can apply for grants. So let's say you have a private school in a low-income community. They can apply for a federal grant and receive Title I funds through the state. So Title I funds is a federal fund given to the states for school. The states control that funding. The states control that funding, not the government. So when we talk about, the government has a say in what happens in education, they really don't have a lot of pull. They provide Title I funds, and that's not something that they are allowed not to provide. Constitutionally, they're supposed to provide Title I funds or title funds to the states to operate schools. Now, the schools are mostly funded by local taxpayers, unless you're in a big city like, I think it's Chicago, LA, and New York City. And there's one other one. Those cities don't require taxpayers or homeowners to pay taxes for the school districts to run. But almost every other school district in the nation operates off of local funding through homeowners, homeowner taxes. That's how they're funded, not by the government. So what we tend to do is we blame the government for a lot of what's happening in our school systems. Actually, it's a district issue and a state issue, not a government issue. It's not a federal government issue. It is a local government issue and a state government issue, but not federal government issue. So a lot of the funding that is received is through the state and through local. But as far as the cursive, the reason why is because teaching cursive to students who cannot read and write is an issue, and it's a compounding situation where we have students coming in to kindergarten, right? Without the basics. Not only without the basics in education, we have students coming into kindergarten that have never seen a book. So now it's up to the teachers, right, to supplement, teach them what they're supposed to be learning in kindergarten and supplement what they should have been learning before that. So it's a lot to it. So it's not even that it's nuanced. There's a lot to it that causes these things. And there's also different variables. For instance, children in black homes have a lower reading level than students in more white communities. Right? And we can speculate on why that is. Why that is. But literacy in many of our communities is not something that is a priority at a young age. It's not. So now what's happening is we're blaming teachers for not teaching things like cursive, but not holding the whole community accountable for why our students can't read when they get to the third grade.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you think, and thank you again for being here and giving us this knowledge from the inside. Do you think that the No Child Left Behind has scarred our children?
So I just completed educational law. I'm working on my finishing my internship to become an admin and a district leader in school districts. So that's the thing. So the No Child Left Behind had to be adopted by the states. It's something that and the thing is, it's pretty much the same program that's been in existence since the 60s, except they keep renaming it.
Right.
It's a failure, and they keep renaming it. It's a failure, and they keep renaming it. What the positive thing is this: having state standards, right? Which is what like the No Child Left Behind thing sort of implemented. States had an opportunity to adopt Common Core standards, or now it's called Next Generation standards, to bring on a national level what students should be learning and the standards they should be learning at each grade level. That's a positive. But the No Child Left Behind provides an opportunity for students to not achieve, to skate by, to do the bare minimum and still get ahead, which is why we have, again, like I said, it's part of the reason why we have students in the third grade that are having trouble with reading, while we have high schoolers who are still reading at a third, fourth, fifth grade level.
I just saw a stat on that. That's sad.
Exactly. So listen, what I want to do is while you're here, I had a video I want to show you about it tonight that this guy did on the education system, and I would like to watch it and then break it down, because I think this would be good for the audience to see it and then for us to actually break it down. So let me pull it up here. I'm gonna play it for everybody to see, and just pay attention to it, because he put it. It was well put together. And so just listen to the words of what he's saying. All right, here we go. Let me play it real quick. Got it loaded up here. All right, here he is.
Albert Einstein once said, "Everybody's a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today on trial we have modern day schooling. Glad you could come. Not only does he make fish climb trees, but also makes them climb down and do a 10-mile run. Tell me, school, are you proud of the things you've done? Turning millions of people into robots, do you find that fun? Do you realize how many kids relate to that fish Swimming upstream in class, never finding their gifts, thinking they are stupid, believing they are useless. Well, the time has come, no more excuses. I call school to the stand and accuse him of killing creativity, individuality, and being intellectually abusive. He's an ancient institution that has outlived his usage. So, Your Honor, this concludes my opening statement, and if I may present the evidence of my case, I will prove it.
Proceed.
Exhibit A. Here's a modern day phone. Recognize it? Here's a phone from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Stay with me. Here's a car from today, and here's a car from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Well, get this. Here's a classroom of today, and here's a class we used 150 years ago. Now, ain't that a shame? In literally more than a century, nothing has changed. Yet you claim to prepare students for the future? But with evidence like that, I must ask, do you prepare students for the future or the past? I did a background check on you and let the record show that you were made to train people to work in factories, which explains why you put students in straight rows, nice and neat, tell them sit still, raise your hand if you want to speak, give them a short break to eat, and for 8 hours a day, tell them what to think. Oh, and make them compete to get an A letter which determines product quality, hence grade A of meat. I get it. Back then, times were different. We all have a past. I myself am no Gandhi. But today, we don't need to make robot zombies. The world has progressed. And now we need people who think creatively, innovatively, critically, independently, with the ability to connect. See, every scientist will tell you that no two brains are the same. And every parent with 2 or more children will confirm that claim. So please explain why you treat students like cookie cutter frames or snapback hats, giving them this one-size-fits-all crap.
Watch your language.
Sorry, Your Honor, but if a doctor prescribed the exact same medicine to all of his patients, the results will be tragic. So many people would get sick, yet when it comes to school, this is exactly what happens, this educational malpractice, where one teacher stands in front of 20 kids, each one having different strengths, different needs, different gifts, different dreams, and you teach the same thing the same way? That's horrific. Ladies and gentlemen, the defendant should not be acquitted. This may be one of the worst criminal offenses ever to be committed. And let's mention the way you treat your employees.
Objection. Overruled. I want to hear this.
It's a shame. I mean, teachers have the most important job on the planet, yet they're underpaid. No wonder so many students are short-changed. Let's be honest. Teachers should earn just as much as doctors, because a doctor can do heart surgery and save the life of a kid, but a great teacher can reach the heart of that kid and allow him to truly live. See, teachers are heroes that often get blamed, but they're not the problem. They work in a system without many options or rights. Curriculums are created by policymakers, most of which have never taught a day in their life. Just obsessed with standardized tests. They think bubbling in a multiple choice question will determine success. That's outlandish. In fact, these tests are too cruel to be used and should be abandoned, but don't take my word for it. Take Frederick J. Kelly, the man who invented standardized testing, who said, and I quote, "These tests are too cruel to be used and should be abandoned." Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if we continue down this road, the results will be lethal. I don't have much faith in school, but I do have faith in people. And if we can customize healthcare, cars, and Facebook pages, then it is our duty to do the same for education, to upgrade it, change it, do away with school spirit, because that's useless. Unless we're working to bring the spirit out of each and every student, that should be our task. No more Common Core. Instead, let's reach the core of every heart in every class. Sure, math is important, but no more than art or dance. Let's give every gift an equal chance. I know this sounds like a dream, but countries like Finland are doing impressive things. They have shorter school days. Teachers make a decent wage. Homework is non-existent, and they focus on collaboration instead of competition. But here's the kicker, boys and girls. Their educational system outperforms every other country in the world. Other places like Singapore are succeeding rapidly. Schools like Montessori, programs like Khan Academy, there is no single solution. But let's get moving, because while students may be 20% of our population, they are 100% of our future. So let's attend to their dreams, and there's no telling what we can achieve. This is a world in which I believe. A world where fish are no longer forced to climb trees. I'll rest my case.
All right. I'll let Harrison Family Values go first. As a teacher, what are your thoughts on that video?
I think he brings up a couple of good points, especially about the teachers' pay. I think we need more pay. I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
Give us more pay. No, but seriously, I think he brought up a good point. It's pretty much been the same, and it has been a means to create factory workers here. So I definitely understand that. He brought up Finland. Finland has one of the best, if not the greatest, educational systems in all the world. They have their system is extremely different than ours. The difference is this: not everybody can be a teacher in Finland. If you failed one class in any of your years in school, that automatically disqualifies you from being a teacher from the jump. Like, so they take being a teacher extremely seriously there. They are respected in their communities. Like, you have to earn that. Like, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, and I was always a smart kid, but I was lazy growing up. And I'm teaching in the very grade now that I got left back in when I was in elementary school. And it wasn't because I was smart, I was just lazy, right? That would have disqualified me from being a teacher in Finland. I couldn't be there. So that goes to show how much they value the education there. It's extremely important there. I just went black. Do you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So so they have an amazing educational system there. But what he brought up a very good points there. What happens though is this, right? And I think hopefully this will bring into context how elementary education is done and how it transitions from middle school then to high school. Okay. In elementary school, from kindergarten to second grade, the students are learning to read. Then from third grade up until like eighth grade, they're reading to learn. Okay, so that's how it transitions. Then in high school, what should be happening is they should be having more of a sort of a detailed education system where they can get into what they're interested in. They don't get that until college, and mostly after 2 years of college, when they should be getting it in high school, which was the case back in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, when they was introducing shop in as early as 7th grade in most places, you know. And now in high school, you have some programs that students can get into, but for you to get into these specific programs in many high schools, and I can only speak for New York City Department of Education, you have to be, elite in that area for you to enter these kind of specific programs. So it's a problem. It's a problem. So what he said in that video about the cookie cutter is actually pretty true, and actually that model is really needed in the early stages of elementary education, because from kindergarten to second grade, we're teaching students how to read. And then after that, students need to transition from learning how to read to reading to learn. And if they're not able to get that, then it causes teachers in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade to try to do the very same cookie cutter things, excuse me, that teachers are doing in 1st, 2nd, and kindergarten. So it is a problem, and it's actually perpetual. And it's one of those things now where policymakers are making decisions hoping to fix this, but they've never been in the classroom. He was right there as well. They're telling us what to teach, how our classroom should be, but they've never done it. They've never been in there. So, Brother Mandrell has something he want to say. I want to make sure.
Yeah, it's just a question and a statement. When it comes to the policymakers, my statement is that 99.999% of any policymaker in federal government, they're all lawyers. There's no doctors, there's no scientists, there are no teachers, there are no engineers, they're all lawyers. So they've never done anything else, but they make decisions on everything else. So that's one reason why everything goes to shit. They don't know anything. My question is, when it comes to countries like Finland with extremely successful education programs and curriculums, what happens to the children who don't cut the mustard? Because I get it, with a net that nuanced and diverse, you're gonna catch more people than not. As in contrast to America, where we don't care, you either get it or you don't. Yeah, it's cookie cutter, and it's designed to create assembly line workers, people for unskilled labor, but the days of unskilled labor is passe now. Like, I mean, we know this to be true. Like, I mean, everything's done online, jobs are remote. The market for unskilled labor is as good as dead already. So my question is, what happens to the students in that curriculum who can't cut the mustard? What happens to them?
In Finland?
Uh-huh.
So Finland, I believe, is a socialistic economy. They will find a place for them to work in that system. So even if you don't do well in school, and you're not a doctor or a lawyer, they will find a place for you within that system.
Oh, it's kind of like Japan, where everyone has a job.
Yeah.
Like in Japan, there are people who are hired to like go and sweep graveyards and clean up parks and things like that. Like it's an actual decent wage job.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a minimum wage job. It's like you could actually live off that. Yeah. You know, and their economy is nowhere near ours.
No.
By far and away, we blow them away. But so it's kind of like that, you say. Black man, you're muted, brother.
So basically, they make it. So Mandrell, what you're saying in Harrison Family Values, we'll get y'all in here in a second. We'll get to go to JT next. So basically, what you're saying is everybody is productive.
Yeah,
everybody's going to be productive.
I know for a fact in Japan it's like that, as well as certain places in Europe. Well, in this case, Finland, where like there are jobs for everything, man. If you can drive a car, they'll qualify you to drive a bus, and you'll be a bus driver or something. I mean, they'll find something for you to do to earn a living.
And they'll find it within the free educational system.
Mm-hmm.
Like today in America, we have like, master's degrees for almost any and everything. And a lot of these master's degrees that we're earning, we can't find the job to do, or a job that's going to pay anything.
Right.
So here's what's happening in countries like Finland. By the time they graduate their secondary school level, right, they will be incorporated somehow within the society, where we're pushing kids into college to earn a degree in a field that they really don't need a degree for to be successful. So now they're starting off, life with a degree in, sanitation, psychology.
Liberal arts.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're earning a job, starting off at minimum wage, and they'll never be able to pay off the college debt.
Wow.
But see, the thing is here, to help you out with that one, that's the idea. Like this country is literally, this isn't conspiracy theory, it's fact. We engineered our society that way.
Yeah.
Where, debt, if you check, because freedom depends on your ability to choose. But if you check it with debt, you don't have the freedom to choose.
True.
So
you have the freedom to choose before you get into debt, though.
Right.
Yeah. But the thing is, and Coach K is right, but let's say we've lived in a society where if you didn't go to college.
Yeah, right, credentials race.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my mother went to college at a time where she paid maybe $2,000 a year for college, right?
Wow.
$4,000, she would have earned an associate's degree. All right. We live in a time where you're paying that much for a 1 credit course, like a 3 credit course, for a semester. So education today, and if you notice this is not like, my opinion. If you look at the evidence from, 70s, 80s, the baby boomer stage, education, secondary education was pushing kids into college. The more kids that went to college, the higher they started to charge tuition for.
Mm-hmm.
The higher they started charging. Now it's a business. Now it's let's create these degrees.
Yeah.
So that we can get kids enrolled in college, to give them a degree in a pseudo skill that we tell them that they need. And then when they graduate, they'll never find a job within that skill set.
And not know anything, I swear.
Wow. JT, let's get JT in here. JT, what are your thoughts on the video, my brother? We're going to dissect it, but I just want everybody's initial thoughts on what you saw, because I know there was a lot to consume. Go ahead.
Oh man, he was spitting a lot of facts when it came down to the way that the system is. So even when you look at the analogy of, he had the older man as Mr. Education himself, or school, as he would put it, and he got him on the stand. and it's not to get them to understand that to charge them for something bad to happen or anything like that, is to get it reformed.
Right.
So, you know, I've always thought that myself, even in high school. I wasn't, you know, I even when I look back, I'm like, man, I could have did a whole lot more, you know, in school. But it was, high school wasn't really as bad as junior high for me. Junior high wasn't as bad as elementary for me. Elementary probably was the toughest that school was for me, and it was for the simple fact that I wasn't. It was kind of like what he was saying, as far as like one size doesn't fit all. And one of the things that I as I got older, I realized that, for one, being left-handed didn't just mean that I just did everything with my left hand. I thought a different way. So I just remember that, you know, even right now to this day, when someone says being left-handed, I always think green. You know why? Green scissors. Everybody else had red scissors. I had green scissors. The way that I thought was totally different than a lot of my other classmates. The way that I learned was something totally different. I went into the military and I learned a lot more and a lot faster. Why? Everything started on the left. Everything was done on the right. It ended on the right. So it was the way that I thought. You know, high school wasn't hard because the high school that I went to, they, you know, it was just the fact that once you figure out how to be a robot and just do what you need to do, whether you cheat or not, you can graduate. It wasn't hard to graduate from the school that I went to. But once I moved away and once I started competing, that's when I realized that, ooh, I'm at least 4 years behind my counterparts. So it just came to a point, like now what we're talking about now, it's kind of like with what my man was just saying. It's a community thing. We can't just sit back and blame a system without understanding that we are part of that system. Matter of fact, we're the first part of that system. Parents are the first teachers of their kids. So I kind of agree with what my man was saying.
But JT, again, our society has been this is the greatest achievement in social engineering in the history of mankind. America is. How many parents actually have time to spend with their kids, helping them to learn to read or do homework with them? They're so busy working all the time to make ends meet or pay bills. They don't have much left when they get home. And no one does anything to say stop it, because it's productive on a grander scale, you know, as far as our country goes. Big picture wise, it's productive for us, for them to keep us that way. So not many parents have the time nor energy to actually help their kids learn to read. Like, I mean, my question would be, how are you in the second or third grade knowing how to read? I learned to read before I got to kindergarten, but I'm not everyone else isn't as fortunate as I am.
It's not a blame. It's not a blame. It's just a fact. The actuality is that it starts with the parents.
It does, but
that's the craziest
thing.
But
those kind of options are kind of taken away from parents when the demand to maintain a base standard of living is so high.
I agree.
You know what I mean? I'm not talking about even middle class, just a basic standard of living. The demand is so high. The productivity demand is so high. They don't really have the time, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like that's why the family is so important, especially like a 2-parent household, because even if both people are working, you can, you know, divvy out that time, and one parent can focus on the kid versus shoving an iPad in front of them. I just think that as Americans, we just don't prioritize these things. And it's really sad because while everything, like you said, is true, for sure, Mandrell, I hope like that whoever's listening to these conversations, and I'm sure this isn't the only panel. I mean, we all have little internets in our hand, like, you know, so people are probably hearing it, but it's like what is within your control? Like, you can set yourself up. It may not be easy. Nothing's ever easy, though, so that you can, make the time to dedicate to your kid, even if it's frustrating, but they're going to be better off down the road. And I know there's a certain thing about how many words your kid is supposed to hear at a certain age, and kids aren't hearing that many words. It's interesting, but it's sad.
And you know what? Let me add something to that. You know what? Where in the video, we're gonna dissect it in a minute, but in the video when he says shorter days, it made me think about something because I started doing my research, right? And when during that research, I found out that even there, you got to see how long they work. They give these people 50 days of PTO.
Yeah.
A year. 50 days.
That's federally mandated, by the way. You get 2 months of paid time off per year. You must take it.
50 days of PTO, and they have free childcare.
Yeah.
In that childcare, they're teaching the children. They ain't just laying there watching TV, right? They're actually teaching them. So you get free childcare. You get 50 days of PTO. How relaxing is that as a parent to know I can take off, help my child read, go to my child's school, and I'm still not missing no money.
And in some
other States,
countries,
they're
it's
working
60.
you. Yeah, in the United States, they're working you to death. You're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. If the school call you, you're going to use up all your PTO time taking your kid to the doctor. You got to go to the daycare because somebody at the daycare got a fever. You can't have your kid around sick kids. I mean, it just drains parents. And now they don't have any time left at work. The boss is saying, if you take another day off, we got to let you go. I mean, it's just so many obstacles with the kids not having enough time at school. Well, they're there all day, but they're watching movies, and it's just crazy to me that the United States feels like, oh, the kids are important, but you got 8 hours of school. The parents don't have days off. You don't have free childcare. We don't have anything. But Finland, those kids are.
But they also use school. Most parents are using school as latchkey and daycare now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't wait till the summer is over. And when you really look at it, like I said, it definitely is. I mean, it can vary from one city to another city, even one state to another state. But the thing is that public schools should be the best education that's out there. We should never have to try to run to a charter or private school.
I agree.
But it goes to what we were just talking about. I agree with Mandrell. I agree with Black Man when it comes down to the time allotted to spend that time with your kids is just really not there for a lot of parents. However, we have to, and this should be more of an alarming thing for us to be more involved in building communities. One of the things that got me, it was two things that got me to be able to be a great, because I was a great reader in third grade. I was a great reader because I knew phonics. I knew how to sound things. And it was a program that was done by a lady named June Brown out of Detroit. And she had a program called Let's Read. And it was at actually my family's church, Mount Pleasant. And every Tuesday, Thursday, that's crazy. I still remember the days. Every Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, my mom used to take me there, and they taught us the basics on reading and comprehension. And it was based off of not what grade you were in, but it was based off of your ability as you were at that point. And then they got you there. The second one was just the lady that lived across the street from my grandmother named Miss King. She was a teacher. And my mom was telling her about the issues that I had. And that lady, to this day, got me to read 3, 4, 5, 6 books from third grade to fifth grade. I ended up like reading. And it was because I understood what what's his name, man? The teacher that was
Harrison Family Values.
One of the things I do agree with him, because I didn't even understand this about cursive writing. It is a waste of time when you have children that can't read and comprehend.
Right.
See, most people, they'll be able to sound the words out, be able to spew the words out or whatever. But the biggest thing was to comprehend. This is why a lot of people they don't like to read. They don't like to read books. It's not because they have ADHD or ADD. It's because they're not comprehending the words that they're saying. Right. You know, so
and I think cursive writing, and it's no offense to anybody because I learned it as well, but cursive writing today is like VHS, like a VCR. It's just outdated. Nobody uses it anymore. It's one of those things. And just by a show of hands, when's the last time anybody on this panel used cursive writing doing anything?
Say again.
I do it when I sign. Only thing I do is sign my name, and I don't even sign my full name anymore. I do the whole circle.
It depends on what I'm doing, but there are times, especially if I'm in a meeting where I'm taking notes, I'll just on the fly just say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. No, it's not, because I don't do it often.
Right.
It gets faster with the application. So a lot of times, just to deal with the boredom of if I'm in a 2-hour meeting or educational, whatever, I'll just start writing in cursive, and it's awkward. But the more I do it, I get better at it as I do it. So I just do it just to challenge myself, just to kind of keep up with it. But it's not something that I would choose to do in my everyday note taking or whatever. Now you say you got the tablet or whatever, you take or your phone, you take your notes there. But a lot of times I'll just do it just to do it.
I don't understand. Like, what world you guys live in where you don't write anymore?
Well, I mean, people write, but they just don't use
they don't utilize it too often.
I know how
typing.
I know how to.
I write all the time. I write all the time.
Right.
I'm on the computer 16 hours a day, so I'm typing everything. Notation, letters.
This is my job.
And JT, just think about it. When my kids come home from school and they walk through the door, they've been issued a laptop, a tablet,
that replaced their books.
Their phones. Nothing's written anymore. Everything is mouse. That's it. There's no writing anymore.
No paper homework.
No paper homework. Everything's on laptops and tablets now. Go back to Jenny's message.
No paper homework.
No, sir. Everything's done on the laptop. It says here, I have a quota. Matter of fact, Mandrell, before I even read that, the teachers send the homework in an email or in a little thing. They click on it. The homework comes up. They sit there in the homework. They do the homework on the laptop. Once they're done, they shut the laptop down, put it up. The teacher can check it right there on the laptop.
How's anyone learning anything?
They've been doing that ever since COVID, though.
Yeah,
especially ever since COVID.
Before then, all my girls had that since high school.
Yeah.
So you
both of my kids both of my kids had it.
2015, they started that.
In high school.
Yeah. Once COVID hit, that was the end of all paper exchange. That was it.
Yeah, exactly.
No more paper exchange.
Well, my question is, I wish Harrison was here still, because I'd ask him, like, how is anyone, if this is what it is, and the curriculum has not changed, because it's still designed to create unskilled labor and as much as possible, how is anyone learning anything? No wonder these kids can't read. No one's teaching them.
And I was going to understand also that it has to change a little bit.
You still have to be able to read even on your laptop, though, Landry. You can't not be able to read.
And what you got to research, you still got to research.
You still have to, all that applies. You just don't.
But it's a standard. But it's also a standardized.
You just don't have to go to the get your library card and go get the microfiche and check.
And go use a thesaurus. You remember that? You had to use a
we don't have to do that no more.
Them days are over.
You can Google whatever word you need. Look for synonyms, antonyms, and all of that.
I love that.
Let me have a kid. Let me have a kid. I'm doing that shit.
Well, you got
the thing
is, this is a thesaurus.
No.
You never know when you'll need that knowledge, because you on these platforms.
Google it though, Mandrell.
But my thing is, no one does that. Look how dumb people are on these platforms. You're on with them all the time.
Now, Mandrell,
people are blithering idiots.
But Mandrell, watch this.
You know this, Hank.
Just because they mispronounce a word.
Not mispronounced, but they don't know anything.
Mispronounce a word.
They are dumb for mispronouncing it. But here's the thing: they don't know anything, Hank. They're ignorant.
Even Elon Musk said these words. Elon Musk said, "Why are kids still in classrooms doing this extreme math or doing all this extreme stuff when they should be learning coding, when they should be learning other things?" He said, "Why are they in school for 8 hours doing stuff that don't matter?"
Yeah, and I agree with that.
Well,
Right.
I agree with that. Here's the thing. Here's what they should be doing. I think.
Go ahead, Mandrell.
I think at 8th grade, things like that should be optional. Like how your math should go up to a certain level, right? Up to 7th grade. After 8th grade, if you want to take trigonometry, if you want to take algebra 3, you want to take calculus, it should be optional from that point on. You know what I'm saying?
But you
should go on to learn other things like C#, C++ coding. You know what I'm saying? JavaScript, things that are relevant from 8th grade to graduation.
But
in my opinion,
there's going to be a time. There's going to be a time, Mandrell, where nobody's going to be writing. There's going to be a time nobody's going to be typing.
Well,
this is where it goes down to look at how technology is right now. At one point, people were just talking to each other. There was no writing. There were hieroglyphics. They were drawing all these different things. Then it got to a point. Then they started writing.
Now, JT,
they started learning.
Here's something you'll understand, JT. When we were in Afghanistan, or when I was in South America, you know what? We had GPS technology then, but you know what? Had I not bothered to learn and master land nav, I'd have been fucked like
land navigation is very important.
Right.
Okay,
that's as analog as it gets. Here's you don't use GPS. Here's a map with some grid coordinates. You got a compass,
and actually, right. So look how many people that can't. And this is what's crazy.
You talking about using an atlas?
You have grown.
You don't even have that. You don't even have that.
Listen, you have grown people right now. I'm talking about college students. U of M.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right there on the college. Do you understand that these folks can't even get 5 miles away from themselves, from where they live, without looking at a GPS now?
I don't get that.
This is how crazy it is.
I got a friend of mine who's retired, lives in Germany. His wife asked me one time, he said, how did you guys find anything without GPS? I'm like, I used a map. She asked me, like, when you first signed up, how'd you get to Fort Bragg? I said, I drove. She said, how'd you get here without GPS? I said, I used a map.
But that goes back to what Elon
No,
Musk
you didn't.
said.
She didn't. And look, I had to convince her of it because she didn't believe me at first.
Mandrell, that goes back to what Elon Musk said. Why the hell would you pull out a map when you got a supercomputer in the palm of your hand?
But
it just doesn't make sense to pull out.
Because you never know when you'll need that knowledge, dude.
Well,
you will never know when you need it.
But we've always rated intelligence based on the world that we're in.
Right.
That's why we've measured it. So,
however,
we grew up when we didn't have those things, and so that's why we had to learn them because that's all we had. Now we're in this generation now where those aren't needed. Again, we can play this game with every generation going back all the way to the printing press. We've only had printed text for 500 years. Printing press came out 1511 or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. So this whole conversation in terms of the span of human history is very small overall. Where people could read in mass, right? Nobody was reading in mass until the printing press 500 years ago. So let's not make this like, oh well, again, humans have been intelligent based on what's around them and they've adapted to the world that's around them. That's how we generally measure it, not what people used to do versus what we're doing now.
Hold on, Mandrell. Back in the day, you used to be like, damn, I think I missed. How the hell do I spell it? Like as a kid, you're like, what did I spell that? And you would sit there for a while trying to figure out, did I write this right? Now this is what kids are doing. I'm gonna give you an example right now. Alexa, spell chicken.
Yeah. I gotta say, my cousin did some stupid ass shit like this one time. He couldn't spell of.
Did you hear what she just said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She spelled chicken, and she said, would you like a definition of what a chicken is? So not only is she spelling the shit, she's telling you what the definition of it is, and she uses it in a sentence.
If you look at it, she gives you the thesaurus of it too. She gives you etymology if you want it.
When I'm writing reports, I use Google like that all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah.
So
and I hate.
If Mandrell won't call me a bumbling food, and
no, I'm not saying that.
All the time.
You guys are misunderstanding.
You don't want to, because you want to keep using the same word over and over. So let me switch it up.
No, what I'm saying is,
I use it all the time.
You guys are misunderstanding me.
Hold on, Mandrell. Let me finish this. I've been saying these kids are in school way too long. These kids should be in school no more than 4 hours.
Yep.
4 hours. Math, science, and English is the only thing they should be learning in school. Everything else they should learn at home. I don't want the school system to teach my son about history, especially not our history. No, I don't. I will teach them myself. so he can get the full aspect and not the watered down version of our history. That's what I want to teach my son.
Yep.
As far as finances, I don't want them to teach my son finances. I will teach him finances. You know what I'm saying? And for those who don't know about finances, then guess what? You better Google it, figure it out, and teach your kids about it. Because if you're gonna listen to what the school system, they're gonna get you in that warehouse type mindset. No, I'm good.
Yeah, but my thing is, like I said, you guys are misunderstanding me. I'm not saying don't use the tools that we have. They are very convenient. I advocate for scientific innovation. You know, I'm all for science. So yeah, use Google. I use it. My issue is people who come up in this era don't know how to use Google. They don't know anything, even though they have an encyclopedia and a diction in every version of the dictionary right here. They still don't know shit. They don't even know how to use it. So my thing is like, if I'm ever blessed to have a kid, I'm gonna teach him land nav. I'm gonna teach him how to use a map, a compass, and read grid coordinates, shoot an azimuth, shit like that. JT, am I right? You remember all that shit? Yeah. The thing is,
I've taught my
you
daughters.
you never know when you need it.
Put them in Boy Scouts, man.
I've taught my daughters land navigation this way. There's a street, right? There's a road or a highway that we have, and I used to take them back and forth to school. So in the morning time, when I'm heading south, I used to always ask my kids in the morning time, where's east? And I'm heading south. I ask them where's east. They don't know. You know how I teach them what's east and west?
Sun rises.
In the morning time, east is where the sun is rising.
Mm-hmm.
If that sun is right there, that's the east. When we coming back from school, I say, where is west?
Where the sun is setting.
Where the sun is setting. They know the time of the day. They know where the sun is setting now. They take this now. And that's just land navigation. Something that's just simple. There was a couple other things I taught them, but that's how we learn. We have to learn the analog way also. It's kind of like what Mandrell is saying is that, cool, you learn how to use these tools, you learn how to use the cutting edge technology, but however, you need to also understand what's before that too. I had that whole set myself.
What is that?
That whole set of encyclopedia is an encyclopedia.
Is a World Book of Britannica.
Myself. Do you know I read every one of those?
I did that for World Book. I read all of them. I did too.
Like I did it because again, that's all we had. I've been around before the personal computer, so that
says the new book of knowledge, deluxe home edition. But yeah, it's a whole set.
Do they still print? I don't think Britannica does anymore.
Hell no, man.
This is an old dictionary that my mom
on Google.
This is the old dictionary for my mom, and then when I got older, about my own. Let's see. Dictionary and thesaurus.
And guess what? What? Right now, I can go to Alexa or Google. I have both, and I can say, Google, pull up.
That's not the point. That's not the point.
No. The point is, what I'm saying is, if we had what we had today back then, we wouldn't even use the shit.
I know I would have.
No.
I would have.
I've been and graduated from high school at 14.
Some damn pages of a book.
Absolutely.
But because
I've been graduated 14 years old, I'm out of the 12th grade.
Again, you use what was there.
Let's get Dusto in here.
Because I haven't even talked yet.
Okay, go ahead, beautiful animated.
And flashcards.
I was raised with books. There are certain books, especially if they're educational, that I will get in the hard copy. The ebook will be free, right? Or not cost that much yet, but I will still get the physical form, because the thing is, electronics and electricity, you cannot always depend on them. If you have a storm and your lights are knocked out, what you gonna do then?
I can tell you.
There?
No, I can tell you right now.
I can
tell you right now. When we had a snowstorm here in Dallas and everything froze over, I was the only one in the neighborhood with lights.
You had a generator, didn't you?
Hell yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, get you a 10K. Get you a 10K.
I got a generator hooked to my I hooked it up to my refrigerator and my stove.
You can't always depend on electronics. You have to have a hard copy, especially if it's something very important.
Yeah, that's true. We did come up with floppy disk.
Yeah, and
I was on
That's
5
another
1/4.
thing.
You were on
That's
3 1/2.
another
I was
thing.
on 5 1/4.
Remember those old black ones? Those talking about those black ones that
I had
really
the real
did
when they
flop.
said floppy
Yeah,
disk.
yeah. It was they were big, black, and they had that
5 1/4.
big circle in it. Yeah, I remember those.
5 1/4. The 3 1/2, we thought that was like the cassette. That was going from 8-track to the cassette.
Yeah. And then we moved over
Shout
to
out to Oregon Trail, baby. That's when I was playing Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail. I remember that.
And guess what now? That same information you had on that big ass floppy disk, it's on a little disc this small now.
Hey,
you can carry it on your keychain.
You talking about the thumb drives?
Yep.
You know they got those in like 2 terabytes now, right?
Yep.
Y'all remember MS-DOS?
Yes.
That was
our first programming language.
That was thank you. You can't even find the book to teach you that.
Mine was COBOL.
You don't need it.
Believe it or not.
You don't need
I
it.
want to. I know, but I want to because the thing is,
there was C#.
if something happens with your computer, MS-DOS and the whole programming is what you need to do. Is what you need to do to work on your computer, right?
Now you can't fix things. Like you talk about finding the root cause and fixing root cause issues. Learn MS-DOS.
Fix it. Hold on. Give me an example. Fix things like what?
Like say there's something going on with your hardware. Windows picks up on the issue because it can't perform a task you want it to, right?
Right.
You type it, you open up your DOS window, you type in a couple of commands, boom, boom. Windows it shows you, listen, I'm having a problem here. Okay, well then you can tell Windows to do this. It'll do it. There's no buffer time. There's no restart, reboot that needed. It's just it does it. When you're using MS-DOS, Windows does exactly what you tell it to do the second you tell it to do it.
Now listen.
And that was the only way we could get to Oregon Trail.
Hey, hold on. And you said MS-DOS, right? Watch this.
Yeah.
Imagine this. Imagine going on YouTube and typing in MS-DOS and how to use it. It'll pop right up. It'll show you.
Yeah, but you can't go to YouTube because your computer's fucking up. You don't know MS-DOS, so you can't fix that.
You got a phone. You got everything. Your phone, your watch. You know what I mean? The shit, your TV. I mean, it's everywhere.
Okay, cool.
You got smart TVs. You can tell Alexa, turn the TV on YouTube. Look up MS-DOS. It'll pull it up.
And if in the event that all that fails, what are you left with?
We're dead. Well, we ain't dead because I know how to hunt.
You know, you caught with your pants down.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
I have some comments I want to say on the video, but let Dusto go first.
Go ahead, Dusto.
I didn't know Dusto was still here.
Yeah, I watched the video. I heard the speech, and it's interesting how he's going to get people excited by comparing United States education to Finland, knowing they got a socialist government. Then compare it to other countries that are socialist.
Smaller than New York City.
Yeah, that's okay. United States is not socialist, and it never will be. It's becoming more capitalist. So what he saw was a fake dream. Why don't the government do this? Why don't they? We know that's not real. It's not going to happen. Why don't we teach coding? Why don't they teach kids how to go out and really be successful in the school, especially in the inner city? Because capitalism. What he pitched was a democratic scam. People get riled up in their emotions. They get mad, and they show this is the reason why. If you actually talk to superintendents, if you talk to the teacher at the lowest level, the superintendent, and the politician at all these different levels, it's political. You know how politics work. Cash, favoritism. That's not going to change. If they were to teach everything, if everybody could walk out making $50,000, $75,000 a year and that's the standard, $50,000 to $75,000 is zero. And we know this, and he knows this. Some people are going to lose. A lot of them are. Some people are going to win. But the very reason that coding, you can go to YouTube and you can do certain things, and most people won't, gives more opportunity to those who are going to win. There's going to be a big separation of power. Like my parents' time frame, when they grew up, you can be an average person, go out and make enough to make some money and actually survive. That's going to be gone. It's happening day by day. Those who will, those who won't. Education is not going to change unless a lot of people with money voluntarily go ahead and start giving money and turning America into something socialist. And it's not going to happen.
So then we can't complain when kids are out here doing other things and not educated and can't read and can't in the fucking ninth grade and on a third grade reading level. We can't get mad at that because when he explained it, this may be like what you said, like a scam, but I think it's a great idea that the fact that he said that you put all the kids in one class and you expect all of them to learn on at the same pace at the same time.
They don't expect them to learn. He knows that. They know. They knew 20 years ago that the kids are going to be exactly what they are.
But what I'm saying is, Dusto, is we sit here all the time and we talk about how things are, and then we say we need a solution to problems, and then we get a positive solution. We say that shit negative.
No, that solution was not reality. No, the point is the solution was not close to reality. That's more what I'm saying. He knows it. That's the same thing that Democrats do. They get people riled up in their emotions, go and tell them, hey, well, the government owes you something. We're going to fix it and make it fair for everybody. And it's a lie. It's never going to be fair. They're never going to take $50,000 and put it in each household. HUD's not going to take people out the projects and put them in 2-story homes. It's not going to happen. That's more what I'm saying. So the solution is there's something that people are doing to win. Do that. People have access. Everyone who has this and a laptop and the internet now has opportunity to actually go and make money. You got 8th graders, 10th, 12th graders, million subscribers on YouTube making money. I'm just saying things have changed. The standard, people all know this, and we all should know, we could. The parents don't know anything. The parents can't write it.
Well, to be fair, but to be fair, what he was saying was he also did say education now today is indoctrination. He did say that.
He did say it.
That is true.
Yeah, so let's give Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett first. Mr. Bennett first. Coach K.
Hold on. Some stuff he said is true and makes sense, but I'm just saying the whole message was a dream, and that's what my complaint is about what he's saying.
You used to teach too, didn't you, Dusto?
Why do you think I left?
He gave up.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Bennett.
Actually, Coach K, you had a comment you want to make?
Okay.
Well, no, you go first.
Okay, well, I think Dusto, thank you for knocking the ball 300 yards and keeping on the green, Dusto, because you were basically kind of teeing up what I was.
I tried to catch you there. I couldn't.
Looking to say.
The fence.
But I agree. I mean, the fact that he's trying to compare us to Finland, again, it is an apples and oranges comparison, because again, Finland, first of all, it's a monolith country, right? You have basically one ethnic group that's there, not the multi-ethnic, multiracial society that we have. Second, like I said, it's not a purely communist country. I mean, a socialist country. They call it democratic socialism, but they have a lot of floor, a high floor for everybody, and you can still excel, but not as much. I mean, if you want to pay 50% taxes or whatever, you can go ahead and do that. Coach K, you were talking about families, and if we get back to marriages, a more common family. Just reading an article here in Finland, it says last year, 19,575 couples got married. This is the lowest number of marriages in Finland in the last 100 years. People aren't even getting married in Finland anymore.
They don't need to because they got this social safety net.
Right. And so my bottom line is we have to choose what we want. See, the problem with us as Americans, we don't know what we want. We say the things that we want, but everything comes at a cost.
For sure.
Freedom, the quote unquote freedom that everybody says that they want is going to have the cost of some of the dysfunction that we're seeing. If you want to be much more of a monolith, if you want more government control over the direction, you like said when the teacher was on, again, you have fewer degrees that you're going to get that they're going to sponsor for you in that country. So if you want less freedom, if you want more control, more controls, if you want floors for everybody where everyone's going to have a job, well, then we got to decide, do we want to be Finland or not? But clearly, as Dusto was saying, nobody in this country wants that, because we value freedom to do whatever we want, whenever we want to do it, above everything else. So the comparison is not going to work here, to Dusto's point, because we want it all. We want to have the opportunity. We want to have to study basket weaving if we want to, but then we still want to be taken care of. It doesn't work that way. If this country is still good, and even still, this country, we can't even say this is a truly capitalist country, because again, government helps out who they want to help out. They'll bail out the billionaires and whoever that benefits them. They'll benefit Elon Musk, but they're not necessarily going to bail out the people at the bottom. So I think all of this is a conversation. What I started this out with: what kind of society do we want to be? What is the purpose of education? He was right about us being educated to work in factories and to basically be cogs in the chain, not to be independent. But again, if that's not what we have to have some real conversation. What do we want out of society? Less time in school. Like I said, to Hink's point, English, math, arithmetic, that's it. 4 hours, you're home, 365-day school year. Again, but you're not going to get a lot of what we want if people are working 80 hours a week, both parents.
Right.
In Finland, because you got that social net, you can be a mom, you can stay home, not even be married,
for years.
A high level of services to take care of your kids, so you can show your kid how to read. So again, we have to ask ourselves, what do we want as a society? And if we're going to ask for something, something's going to get lost. And we can't complain that, okay, well, this is happening over here, because that's what we signed up for. We signed up for freedom, or alleged freedom. But this is what freedom has. You're going to have winners and losers. You're going to have people who take more than the system than they shouldn't. And you're going to have some winners. But even in capitalism, 99% of the people are not going to be wealthy.
Now,
in a socialist country, no one's wealthy. But
let
here,
me correct you.
It's only 1 or 2% here.
Right. Freedom is the illusion.
That's what I said. That
it's liberty, happy in the pursuit of happiness. That's where it comes down to. Freedom is never spoken on other than us. We're the ones that's talking about freedom. It's always liberty in the pursuit of happiness.
So let me JT, they're selling. Go ahead.
This is for you, Scam, like, and everybody. Mm-hmm. Imagine this. Imagine having a 4-hour school day. Imagine after those 4 hours, the kids that you knew weren't college material, or you knew that every child ain't meant for college, right? Every child's not going to go to that next level. But what if you back in the day when we had those classes where they taught you welding and they taught you how to
workshop, metal shop.
What if we brought that back, but we amplified it? We brought it back on steroids. And think about it. If you were in middle school and you started in 6th grade, you started learning how to do flooring in 6th grade up until you were a senior, or electric work, or welding. And when you
it's called tech school.
Yes.
And the problem we made a trade-off though, right? Because we started to label tech, at least in New Jersey.
Right.
If your school had tech after the name of the school, that meant that you were dumb, that you couldn't handle, you weren't smart enough to be in a real school. So it was either tech school or prison. So we put that stigma that a lot of black kids went to tech. They went to vocational tech school because they weren't smart enough to be in. And like the brother was, I agree. One thing he said in the video, we've limited intelligence to your ability to get A's on these standardized tests.
Right. Not
that you had intelligence in other areas to be a craftsman, to be a plumber, to be a welder, to be whatever. So again, and unfortunately, like you said in another broadcast, we did it to ourselves because we started to put that label on. We started to value getting into Harvard or getting into Princeton versus getting that trade school, getting that plumber certificate where you can make $100 an hour being a plumber.
Right.
We decided, and that's what that Cosby generation did to us. Because remember that conversation that Cliff had with Cleo, that first episode. He's like, okay, he said, I want to be a plumber, I want to be a janitor. Did you know at the time janitors made more money than teachers? But Cliff was trying to sell him, be a teacher, which he wound up being at the end of the series, knowing that the janitor is going to make more than him. But because teaching was looked at as more valuable, So again, we painted this image of what success was supposed to be like. We downplayed, we dog people who weren't smart enough, so they had to go to a technical school.
Right.
Well, there's something.
And now we're asking for those schools to come back.
And you know what? I took some of those classes, and we learned masonry, and I learned how to use a trowel. I learned how to lay center block, bricks, all that shit. And I got my grandmother still got it hanging on her wall. And I learned how to operate a TH-83 bulldozer. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we got certificates for that. You know what I'm saying? We had our OSHA certification. Like, and I had all this shit at 17, 18 years old, 17 going to 17 years old.
Yeah, I was ASC.
I learned.
I just want to say, Mr. Bennett, I agree with you because, but the Northeast education system and culture is different because I'm with you, right? Kids who couldn't go to college, they went to Lincoln Tech, right? And like you said, anything with. But
even I'm talking about even at high school. I'm saying even at high school level. That's where the stigma was. If you were in tech in high school, that meant automatically you were the dumb or one step away from going to jail. That's how they labeled it.
Because in school you had like schools like Lincoln Tech, you had your magnet schools, and you had your like in between tech and in between magnet schools, right? And so but that's kind of like a Northeast thing, but I think
it's in the South too. We ain't signed it.
Yep.
Okay.
Our shit was set up like that too.
Yep. You're right.
But I think the thing about it is when we're looking at the school system and the 150 years not changed and the pressure, because it's based off the Depression system, where you go to work in a factory or you go work into a corporation, right? High school had two functions, either to prepare you to go to the factory, the coal mine, or to get you into college. But now we're seeing that both of those situations are no longer working. University degree has lost its value, so therefore the college, the Common Core or AP courses no longer have value, right? Because AP was supposed to get you into college. And then now we don't have vocational schools or training schools, right? And we don't have any jobs that high school now prepare you for. So it's failing on that front, right? Because in America, at least, education is always seen as a tool to push you into the next socio-economic group. Whereas when you're looking at Finland and things like that, they're looking at how to develop the whole human being for society. And that's the core difference. Because in America, education was always looked at to move you up in class in society, right? Whether you were black or white, whether you're working poor, you go to school, you now become middle class. And that's the core function of education in America. And now education on all fronts are failing because now high school no longer prepares you for a job after high school. And then if you're an AP or an IB, it prepares you for college, but college no longer has the luster that it once had back in the 90s when probably that was the start of the decline. So now we're here questioning education. And so now we have to kind of reevaluate and look at things like, okay, well, now maybe we should just start preparing for jobs because America doesn't look at Harkness education as developing the full body. America and China have the actual same viewpoint about education, right? Education to get the bag. And I know this because I have an educational company here in Shanghai. So I think we need to keep that in mind, right? Because that's the complaint. Education no longer moves you up in social economics. And I'll pass the mic on that.
Yeah, we'll go all the way back to the beginning. Socialism, capitalism. If capitalism is the way to make money, and there's limited spots in capitalism, take the people who aren't going to make the money or you don't want to make the money and keep selling them on socialism. That's what they've been doing for a long time. And then they keep buying and keep trying. How come we ain't getting our government check? How come the government? Because this is capitalism. Well, if you don't live over here, you ain't got no money. You ain't getting this. If you don't perform, play sports, get straight A's or whatever, you don't get it. That's how capitalism works.
Go ahead, Coach K, because I got something to say after Coach K. Go ahead, Coach K.
Okay, I was going to say real quick, if anything, I think we've gotten more socialist because of the amount of government spending and the regulations, if anything. So I agree, but also disagree with you, Scam. So I looked up some things earlier. For example, like, I don't know how much private schools are now. I'm sure it varies. But for example, in 2020, Chicago public schools spent around almost 22,000 per student. So it's like, it's just mismanagement also, multifaceted for sure, but we already spend a ton of money on the public school system. And then you look at things such as, like, you know, there's school choice, so charter schools, you look at classical education, and then homeschooling, like T-Shaw and Luke Casely were talking about in the chat. There's just all these different things, and it's like, it is kind of apples to oranges to compare the US to a socialist country for a variety of reasons. But I don't know, that we've been talking about so much stuff, but I do want to say something later, Black Man, whenever, just about and it kind of goes to.
It's a squeaking. Everybody mute till you speak. I'm gonna mute too because I don't know where it's coming from.
Hopefully it ain't me.
I was hearing it too. It's not me.
Oh God. Okay, I'll keep talking. Let me know if it's me. But basically, it's about the it's considered the straight A conspiracy. Basically, that no one has a particular gene, you know, to be better at math than someone else. And it's really cool information that I think all kids should know. And that is another fault of the education system. They're taught one way, like the guy said in the video. So instead of learning in a way that works for them, they're taught one way, but kids won't try because they think, you know, I'm not good at math, so why try? So then they pretty much prove themselves right. But I can talk about it later. So.
All right. So again, I just wanted to Black David, welcome to the show tonight. Also, my boy, we ain't signing came in here, man. Thank you for coming in tonight. Listen, I want to dissect it because I think it's important, especially for the people that are just not coming in. And we'll stop and go and we may not finish the whole thing, but we're gonna hit on some of the hold on a second, guys. All right, let me make sure I send man. Listen, man, I don't know if y'all was here when K-Soul was here, bro. That's my brother, man. He been out for a while taking care of that new baby, but man, shout out to him. Hey, check your email, K-Soul. All right, so
I saw him a couple of days ago.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's so good to see him back, bro. But let's go ahead and break this down. Let's see.
Is my mic good?
Yeah, you good. You good now.
Okay.
It was echoing a few minutes ago. All right, here we go.
You're gonna need a part 2 to the show for sure.
All right, put everybody down here at the bottom. All right, and let's get this work. All right, here we go.
Albert Einstein once said, everybody's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today on trial we have modern day schooling. Glad you could come. Not only does he make fish climb trees, but also makes them climb down and do a 10-mile run. Tell me, school, are you proud of the things you've done? Turning millions of people into robots, do you find that fun? Do you realize how many kids relate to that fish? Swimming upstream in class, never finding their gifts, thinking they are stupid, believing they are useless?
All right, now, do you guys agree with that? That some kids are so gifted that they never get a chance to exercise their gift because they're stuck in a box. They're boxed in.
Yes,
10,000%.
Yeah, I was one of those kids that we ain't signing.
Oh shit.
Yes, and no. Nowadays it's different than before.
What's going to be the out for them though? So I mean, again, if you're gonna have, I mean, obviously you could certainly open up more of these kids or more of these people to certainly entrepreneurship because that's really where it's going to go. But if they're going to try to make it in any kind of corporate structure, I don't know if it's going to necessarily work well for them. So again, it may spurn more of that. You're going to have to do your own thing in order to survive. But then again, in this country, you're not going to have the social safety nets like in Finland or these other places that's going to be able to support you. So it's really going to be sink or swim if you go that way.
No, the reason why I disagree, because you're trying to ask an institution that had very specific functions on what to do, right? Like I said before, education is the mean to move up socio-economic classes. If you are talented and you have a special skill or talent, That's what extracurricular activities are for. That's what sports are for. Because especially in the Black community, when someone is talented in basketball and football, we have no fucking problem finding and getting that person and investing in him or her to make sure they maximize what they need to do as far as sports, as far as basketball, football, whatever.
Right.
You also have extracurricular activities for other academic things, such as debate, entrepreneurship, dance, whatever. But core curriculum is not designed, nor it's its responsibility to look for these quote unquote diamonds of the rough. That's not the role.
No, I would agree with that. The only thing I would say is for that basketball, that athlete, again, he may still come out reading at a 4th grade reading level.
Yeah.
So again, he's going to be used for the sport, but he's still not going to come out as a necessarily complete.
You're absolutely, but then we can say not reading and writing is the failure of the school and also the parents. We can agree there, right? But as far as saying that, like what he said, a fish climbing up and down and running 10 miles, I think that's being disingenuous because that's not the function.
Yeah, and another thing, like I had an opportunity because I'm part of the parent teacher stuff at my kids' school. I don't give a damn. And so when we have those meetings and I'm sitting up in those meetings, I'm ready to speak up and to speak out about what I'm seeing. And so oftentimes when I'm off work, like tomorrow, I have a day off tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be walking in my kids' classrooms right in the middle of class. Hey, son, what's going on? You good? Right? I'm going to make sure that they're on their P's and Q's. However, I walked in the classroom, bro, and I just asked the teacher, I asked her, can I just sit here and just watch at the back? She said, sure you can. And
but
it's 23 fucking kids in one classroom, one teacher, no assistants. You got kids raising their hands. You got some over here that know it like this real quick. And you got about 4 or 5 of them over here scratching their head. Then you got 2 back here that ain't scared to raise their hand. And the teacher's like, we'll table that. We'll table that till later. But what if later never comes? The kid never understands. Go home, frustrates the parent. Like, Mama, I don't understand that shit. I don't even know how that works.
Yeah, you're not going to get that individual attention.
You're not going to get it. So what do you do with those 4 or 5 kids that don't learn on a scale or a rate or as fast as the other children? They suffer.
But no, they shouldn't, because it's up to the parent, right? You are a real parent. We have so many parents in the Black community that aren't real parents. In the Black community, parenting is paying the bills, having food in your stomach, and clothes on your back. That is piss poor parenting. Good parenting is what you're doing: driving to football camp practice, sitting in the back of the class. And if your kid is failing, then there's something called tutors, that you would make sure that your child has a tutor at the end after class, right? Because I see your community posts. You're always posting things about your kids, right? That is what a parent does. You're parenting, right? At the end of the day, the success of your child is 100% your responsibility until they're 18 or 21, whatever, right? But the responsibility of your kids succeeding or not is the parents.
And let me tell you something. My son came home and said, Daddy, I'm at school, because I told my son, if you don't understand something, the only dumb question is the one you don't ask. And I said, if you don't understand something, you raise your hand, because that's why the teacher is there. My son said, Daddy, I raised my hand. And I said, did she answer? Nope, she never answered. He said, it'd be a lot of kids, Daddy, with their hand up, she ignore us and move on. She teach the kids that learn like on her level, at her pace. The rest of us, she ignore us. And my son has trouble in math. He does. And so he's trying to ask, and I asked her, I said, ma'am, my son said he's asking questions in class. She said, listen, she said, I'm sorry. She said, but they pile all these kids. This is what she said. They pile all these kids in this classroom, and they expect me in 1 hour to be able to teach all 23 of these kids. She says it's impossible.
You know what? This is the thing also think about this. You know what school actually is? You can look up the etymology. I got you, brother. But this is the thing. School is an institution of instructions.
Right.
That's basically what it is, right? You cannot give instructions to 30, 25, and 30 children. It's not possible for that to happen. It is, and I agree with we ain't signing, it is up to the parent. However, I have to go back to what Mandrell was just saying. How do you do that when the pressure is on you as a parent to get out here and survive?
You right.
You're spending 50 to 80 hours
at work.
At work.
Yeah.
Both of them.
So right. So it's not piss poor parenting. Well, you know what? Let's call it what it is. Let's hold on. Let's call it what it is.
They're responsible.
But this is the thing. We can't be in the
hold on, guys. We ain't signing. Try to go out and come back in because you're breaking it really, really bad, bro.
You sound like R2D2. Yep. But what it is that, okay, let's call it for what it is. It is piss poor parenting, right? However, it's not. We should never be in the space of blame. It's all about accountability, right? How do we do this? The other problem is that there's not a community. These things that they're telling us that we don't have them. We don't have a community. We don't have people that really care about other people. We don't have people that are having children because of the grandchildren. We're having people that's having children because of their own selfish reasons. So if you understand that this is listen, when I hear somebody say, I don't want to have children right now. I probably never will have children because I won't be able to be conducive in their life.
Right.
You don't have children and you don't rear your children just for your children. Right. You do it for the lineage. You do it for their children and their children and their children. We don't have that mindset. Right. Just like what Mr. Bennett was saying when we talk about this whole thing of freedom. It is an illusion. You got to be dumb to think that this shit is free. There's no such thing as freedom.
There ain't no free lunch.
There's no such thing as freedom. So the only thing that we can go to is the pursuit of happiness by taking the liberties that is afforded to us. And then we move around that. We understand what actuality actually is when it comes down to this. When it comes to this education thing right here, man, it's winners and there's losers.
Right.
And we're going to have to figure this out.
Let me say this real quick, guys, before we move on. Listen, man, my brother from another mother didn't hit the damn stage. All right, been with me since day one of YouTube. My boys in the building, man. Give it up for K-Soul in this thing tonight.
Welcome back,
What's going on, my brother? Man,
hey,
how's the new baby, dude? How's the wife? Everything, bro. Come on. We're gonna pause for a minute and holler at my boy.
I didn't want to derail the conversation, but man,
we just a commercial. We're gonna be back in a minute, guys. Go ahead.
Right, okay. The baby is doing great, man. And you were absolutely right at the beginning. She does have me wrapped around her finger.
I told you it was coming.
I would fuss at my wife. I'm like, yo, stop picking her up every time she like wants to be picked up.
Right.
And all she has to do is look at me and it's over. And she's in my arms. So I can't fuss at her anymore. The baby's doing good. She's about to start walking, I think, and she's about to be 8 months in like a few days. The wife is doing good, so everything is good, man. I've just been busy, but I'm back now.
Hey, so, man, so good to see you, my brother, man. So good to see you, my brother. All right, K-Soul, this thing. All right, K-Soul. So stick with us, man. We're gonna I'm gonna pull everybody back down so we can get back to the video real quick. Here we go. All right, let me see. All right, let me pull this back up. Right, we got Black David up in this thing tonight.
Yeah, I got a lot to say.
Well, I bet you do.
Can I just say something? I went to a magnet school and did you say
Go ahead. Hey, I got you. One more.
Magnet schools in Texas are considered good, and they're career based.
I got your wings on. I'm coming to get you.
So I was in architectural drafting. You had photography. I think you have I want to say we had auto and culinary there. So yeah, we had a lot of career based classes. But it's like part of the problem is, like we already said, the schools weren't teaching you for real life. They were teaching you to pass the test. And when we after 11th grade, when we passed our test, in 12th grade, we weren't really being taught nothing. And then we were having half class because it was half your day is class, and then the other half is work. And we be in these math classes with other kids who with the 11th graders and 10th graders who have to study for the test, and we just sitting there doing nothing. Like, really?
Yeah, and
you ain't got nothing else to show us?
Right, and I guess that was the privilege of being a senior after, when you go for that half a day, you just sitting up in class just sucking up air. But however, I want to play the next clip of this, and then we're gonna break it down. Here we go.
Time has come, no more excuses. I call school to the stand and accuse him of killing creativity, individuality, and being intellectually abusive. He's an ancient institution that has outlived his usage. So, Your Honor, this concludes my opening statement, and if I may present the evidence of my case, I will prove it.
Proceed.
Exhibit A. Here's a modern-day phone. Recognize it? Here's a phone from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Stay with me. Here's a car from today. And here's a car from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Well, get this. Here's a classroom of today. And here's a class we used 150 years ago.
Thoughts?
What to say about this?
What you think about that clip right there?
Oh my fucking God.
I'll just say this. I've been seeing it for so long and people think I was crazy. The United States education is nothing but a scam to con people for so long. Because for one, if you were above the system, they're trying to tell you you are lying or you are cheating. I have met people out here in New York City who was 8th in their class from elementary school, and I was one of them. If I get a perfect score, I got to take the test again 3 times to prove that I actually studied for it in New York City. That's how crazy it get out here. And I've seen multiple communities whereby if their kid is struggling and they know the school is not helping, they put their money together and build resources when they have tutoring program for their folks. The Chinese community does that. The Japanese community does that. The Jewish community does that. The African community, they don't even play around. They do it in the church. At one time, I was a pastor told my peer, they asked me to be the tutor in my church. And I told them I can't because your kids are out of line. Because I don't got patience for out of line kids. I'm that one person I will hold your kid upside down, but like this. Either you don't act right or I'm bouncing you. Choose one. I don't play that game, but I see that every day out here in this city. Imagine you're 4th grade and you age your class. They should say you're cheating. I know you cheated. I know they're checking your desk. They're checking your book. There's no cheat sheet. I gotta be up in the front of the class. Take the test again just to prove that I ate the class. My parents went back to Nigeria at one point because, quote unquote, I was getting out of hand. The standard there was way above Americans. It was based on a better standard, but they break it down based on section. Technical, science, commercial, and art. It started from junior high. Everybody's not learning the same thing. Math may be the same, English may be the same, but the courses are different. And I see why they did that because everybody have their weak point and their strong point. Some people are strong in science. They go to the science class. Some people are strong in commercial. They go to commercial class. They base it on your grade, where you're strong at or where you're weak at. Based on where you're good at, they'll put you in a particular section. Over here, it was a joke. I came back here at one point in high school. I was 8th in my science class. My teacher was Indian. I was in the 9th grade. I was getting 99, 105, 115 because I was keeping 8th in my test. He said, you know what? You don't have to do homework because you seem like you proved the point that you've been studying. Everybody else got to do homework. I was shocked. My report card come in. Why am I only getting 99? Why can't I get 100? Why got to be a cutoff mark? Why can't I exceed that? That's the same question year after year after year. I went back again to finish my high school in Nigeria. I didn't finish my high school here. The high school in Nigeria was pure competition. Everybody puts education. There's no GED class. If you drop out of high school, it is bad for you. And this is real life experience. I saw my high school classmate, older brother, in elementary school uniform in grade 5 in broad daylight. I thought he was joking. No, no, that's my older brother. I was like, whoa. So they don't play around with education here. The American school system, if you're the smartest person, they pick on you, they bully you, they jump you, they force you to do their homework, they call all kind of names. And it's funny
It's jealousy.
It's funny that the Book and Dusty show on the People Network talked about it out on the panel, talk about the same exact thing. I brought it up on the Burnout section when Mandrell was on there. We talk about how other countries are different, yet it's not the same system. We have socialized system, we have capitalism, but the thing is, they know what they're doing. I've seen the education level back in the 80s. It's been degraded ever since. When my son went to school and I saw the Comic-Con math nonsense, I almost threw the book out the damn window. I was thinking I'm being dead serious right now. I might have to do that this week. I was thinking of go online, ordering the math book from my country, which is about 10 levels higher than here, so that my son would not only supersede everybody in the classroom, but go above and beyond, because I am sick and tired of the garbage. Now my son going to charter school, but I'm still checking his math. I'm still checking his English. Where I come from, if you don't have an education, you're a bum. So I am.
So let me say this real quick. I told the teacher said, your son is doing something in the classroom, and he said you told him to do it. And I said, what's that, ma'am? She said, your son, when I give him the comprehension test or a reading test, he's reading the questions first and then going back and reading the paragraph and then answering the question. I said, okay. And she said, that's not how we do things here. I said, excuse me? She said, that's not how we do it anymore. She said, I understand you did that back in the 90s when you were in school. She said, but we don't teach it like that anymore.
What's the problem? Because the thing is, as long as he's getting the right answer, that's what's to be important.
Yeah,
see, I don't like that crap.
Yeah, but
having different.
Everything's changed, and that's why it for some people that can do it, it's homeschool is just better. I mean, I think it'll affect their social skills, maybe, but I think homeschool it's better. What are your thoughts on that, Queso?
So yeah, I think it was like that for me in school too. I remember, math specifically. If you figured out the answer to the problem, but you didn't use the method that was taught in class,
exactly,
you would get points deducted from the test because you had to use that specific method. So it wasn't really about finding the right answer.
Exactly.
It was about understanding that method. And I mean, I can understand it a little bit, but it's frustrating because people learn differently and people solve problems differently. And maybe the way that I did it is the way that's best for me to retain the information. But also, I'll say this to your homeschool comment. I do think that you can suffer socially with homeschool, but I think because we've been learning more and more about homeschool because I have friends that homeschool their kids. And their little girl I think she just turned 4. And what she does is she sets up play dates. So she makes sure that she goes out and she interacts with other kids and she gets that experience of learning to share and learning to work with others and things like that. Right. So I think there's always going to be pros and cons, but I mean, I've been considering homeschool myself. I still have a while. My little girl's only 8 months. So yeah, it's wild, but I think that there's change happening in some schools. There's a school not far from me, and there's a term for it. I can't remember it, but they will give homework to these kids, and you're allowed to turn in your homework in different formats. Some will allow you to write a paper, but you can also, do a video, or you can also do a poster project thing. So there's some schools that do offer solutions such as that. And then you also have the option of which is expensive and everybody can't afford it, but a private school. I did both private and public school, and I know private school does things a lot differently and I actually went from private school to public school, and in doing so, they were way behind. But if it's something that you can't afford, I think that's a great option if you want quality education.
Right, because a lot of kids, I know some children that do great in school, but they horrible testers. When those standardized tests get in front of them, they go blank. They get nervous. They shaking and shit.
That's me.
But I mean,
it's like I get writer's block. Like I can know the information, but when you say test or quiz, man, my mind is like.
That's where I come in.
all three of my daughters had it.
Hold on, let me ask a question.
Yeah, Mr. Benio. So your daughters dealt with it?
Yep, every single one of them.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that, and then Hank will get you in here.
It's I mean, it's a mental block. I mean, you just have to really coach them through it. I mean, one thing I said to my kids early on, I said, I've always set the standard for them, not necessarily the grade, which is why when Black David was talking, like I feel what he's saying, like I understand, but this conversation started out talking about how we tend to, how do we judge people?
Right.
Like you can have a person, you can get on an SAT, you can get an 800 on the math, but a 200 on the verbal. Maybe you're just more math centered than verbal, but the society discards you because you're saying you're not smart enough. Like I said, if you don't have certain aptitudes, they send you to the tech school because you're not smart enough to be here. Who cares if you necessarily know Shakespeare, but you know how to build, work with your hands and build things, whatnot. So we still have this sort of the way we look at education in general. We have this sort of disposable. We look at children as being disposable. But I've always set the standard for my kids. It's like I told them, sure, I do not care what your grades are. I said that very early on. But what I do care about is your work ethic. If I see you putting in the time, if we need to get you a tutor, if you got a block here, we'll get you the tutor. But don't worry about trying to impress us.
Mm-hmm.
I said, just worry about at the end of the day, can you honestly say that I put everything that I had into that? And I just let the grades be what the grades are. So I think us as parents take it. So again, I know some parents it's like, oh, you got to get an A, you got to get an A. We were never that household here.
Right.
But I did, me, it's all about your effort. Because my thing is, if you put in the work, the results will show up. That's just my approach to life. That's always how I've always treated things.
Hey, Mr. Bennett, I'm just curious if I can just ask a question. Did that positively affect their grades?
Well, I would say this. Obviously, they got the grades to get to where they need to go. I just wanted to, if anything, remove. I wanted to remove a potential blocker or pressure from us.
Can I say something too? That is actually really important that I've read, and I don't have kids. This is just what I've read. That then kids won't attach, like, instead of saying, oh, you're so smart for like the grade that they get, like you work so hard. So then they get to own that they worked hard. And also then when they don't get a good grade, that means that then they don't think that they're dumb. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
or that they're not loved. I mean, that's the thing. Like I said, and I tell them, it's like, look, my love for you is not going to change.
Yep, it's that self
ever. It's a constant with us. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to love you anymore because you come home with straight A's or you come home with straight C's. That's not going to change my love for you. We may need to change the approach so that you can get to where you say you want to get to.
Yeah.
Let's work on that. But again, as far as the and I never ever compare my kids to none of them. Why can't you get better grades like your older sister is, or how come you don't have this like your youngest? Like that, the comparison thing, that was just taboo from jump. I never compared any of my kids because they're very different personalities, and I never compared them to another kid saying, "Why can't you be more like your other sister or your older sister?" Doing no, that is totally out.
But Mr. Bennett,
I wish to God, man, you could have talked to my dad.
my dad too.
For real.
Same shit.
Like if I bring an A home, like say for example, if I score perfect, no problem. If I got like a 95, my father will make me redo the questions I got wrong.
But I picked that up in high school because I remember being in the trigonometry class and I sat next to a girl who was bald. Like I'm looking, I got a 70. I got a 75. I think on my test.
But
right?
Mr. Bennett,
And she's next to me bawling. And I'm like, I got a 92 on my test. And she's bawling because she was afraid to go home to talk to her parents. This was in 10th grade. And that just stuck with me, like from then. That like I would never want that on my kid.
I remember. Hold on, baby. I remember my mama saying these words. She said, "I don't give a damn what you do. You better not bring no F and no C up in here."
That was me. Yeah,
that was her words. And so I went to school. I said, "Miss D. Johnny." I never forget her name, Miss D. Johnny. I said, "Miss D. Johnny, can you please help me?" I said, "I can't go." I said, "I know. Listen, can you? Can I take it over?"
Which brings up another skill that even to this day I'm still trying to impart in my kids. And this is something that a lot of people, no matter what your age is, a lot of people do not employ today. If you're in trouble, ask for help.
Right.
Exactly. I can't tell you how many people my age and younger are saying, "Look, I'm struggling in this class," but they don't the shame or the shame they feel going and asking for help from somebody.
Yeah,
that to me, that's
stupid.
But that skill set in life is probably one of your greatest skills you can ever have in life, regardless of your age. Is to reach out. There's resources out there if you ask for it. The Bible says we don't have because we don't ask.
Yeah, we have not because we ask not.
We ask not. So again, that blocks so many blessings from people. There are people out there who are so willing to help you. The universe opens up to you when you ask, but because you feel blame or shame from it, or how you go and feel a certain way because you're stuck in your feelings, you won't take the work to do that. So even to this day, I was just talking to my daughter this past week. I'm still trying to break her out of that. I'm saying, look, you need to go to where you need to go to get the help that you need. It's not an embarrassment.
Can I switch?
Let me say this. What's wrong with setting that high expectations for your kids?
No, my expectations are different. I'm not asking. The expectation, like I said, is your effort.
No, but what I'm saying is, you said you was traumatized, I guess, by that girl getting a 92, and she was crying over it because her dad expects, I guess, better or higher.
Well, both parents, yeah. If it wasn't 100, then she was a loser. She was a failure. She was, like I said, her whole self-image was based around that. And I just said to myself right then and there, I had to bust my butt to get a 75. And I never wanted, and for me, that was an accomplishment for me that I thought I was proud of, because I was doing crappy in trade. I just didn't understand it at all. So for me to get that was an accomplishment for me. But for her, it was a tragedy. And I'm saying I don't want that on my life. I'm 92 and she's balling out.
But Mr. Bennett, hold on. Let me say something really quick before
setting high expectations for your kids is something we should all do. I mean, I don't want to ever lower my expectations for my kids because I know what he can do. We know what.
But like I said again, my expectations are going to be different. It's not going to be tied towards a numerical score. It's just not.
But Mr. Bennett, though, for example, I would admit I was the same. I know that if I did not bring home 100, I'm going to hear my father talk, and he's going to make me redo the test over. I get that. And if it was a B, he's going to make me write a letter asking the teacher for more homework. If it was a C, I'm getting my ass beat and I'm on punishment.
Yeah.
D, just never come home again. Yep. But so I get your point. I'm serious. Like I've never.
I agree. I understand.
Yeah. Like in high school, I have never brought home anything less than a 90. Anything less than a 90. And even with that, I'm coming like shit when she gives me it, because I know that's a 2-hour conversation with my father. That's a 2-hour conversation, a 90, right? 100, no problem. But I do agree with, we got to have high expectations and results. Results do matter.
We ain't trying to understand that. We ain't trying to understand it.
But, but I mean, like I said, you got to set the high expectation for your kids, because if not, they're going to do just enough. And that's not how the world works.
Right. You got results matter.
It wasn't just a perfectionist thing. It was just a comment. It was a parental thing. Parental thing.
I get what you're coming from.
You know,
like I said, at the end of the day, you still have to set these. You have to set expectations for your kids. I mean, we all have expectations for our kids. Now, some are lower than others, but you still have to have expectations.
I agree.
Expect for my son
I get it, but
no, he can't bring a C home, and you got to have at least a 3.5 or higher GPA. If you don't bring that home, that's a problem for me. You need to explain to me, as far as writing a paper or some type of report, why you didn't get this. And like you said, I don't give them that room talking about, well, the teacher wouldn't help me. That's bullshit. If that's the case, you let me know, and I'll email this teacher and I'll ask her, why wasn't my son getting help?
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Now I need to address him.
Let me speak.
Now I need to
address him. Hold on one second, real quick.
Back on him. Why didn't you ask for help? Because I don't have no problem with getting a tutor. Hold on, Mandrell. I don't have no problem with paying for a tutor if need be. Now, I understand a lot of people can't afford that, because it's not easy for to pay for tutoring. It's not cheap. His tutor for his math, because he struggles in math. I'm paying $75 a session. The session is only an hour long, but it's $75.
You right about that? Hey, hi.
So he's going 3 times a week, hour and a half at a time. So you do the math, man. It's not cheap, but you got to do what you got to do. If you're going to invest in your kids, you need to invest in your kids. Now I know we're talking about private school. If people can afford, private school will be the first route I would go to. You know what I'm saying? If you can afford it. Now, they have all these programs where you can. Because I know, like here in Kentucky, a lot of private schools, they have opportunities to make money to offset the costs.
Like bingo.
So that means you have to volunteer, because the private schools mostly, they're not co-ed. There's a couple schools that are co-ed, but for the most part, they're not co-ed. You have the opportunity to volunteer and offset some of the costs at working the baseball games, they got every sport you could think: baseball, football, basketball, field hockey, swimming. They got all the sports.
Damn, I had no idea.
You can work the concession stand.
My dad
You
did
can work
that,
the ticket counter to offset some of these prices, if that's what you want to do. But some people won't. Their pride won't let them, because they're gonna look like they less a person. Oh, well, I had to ask for help. I had to get a public assistance. No, that's bullshit. You invest into your child's education.
Exactly.
If you want the best for your child, you ought to be willing on doing it. If that means sacrificing your goddamn weekends to do what you need to do, that's what you need to do.
You're on point here.
If I can't go to the private, if my son can't go to private school, then I'm gonna have him homeschool. Homeschool is not a set hours. I can homeschool it on a third shift schedule. If that means I get off at 11 o'clock at night, if that means I gotta wake my son up, we got this 2 or 3 hour curriculum, we're gonna do it. If that means it's 1 to 4 in the morning, I can do it. There's not a set time. I don't know what homeschools y'all go to. They don't have a set time here. I could submit my work at any time. As long as I submit it, I'm good.
Hank, let me think on that. I get what you're coming from.
And as far as your social aspect, involve your kids in activities. If that means a sport, if that means any type of club, chess club, debate club, whatever, he could go to his home school and be a part of that program.
Yes, by law.
They can't deny you of it.
By law, true.
You will graduate. When you graduate, you'll graduate on your home school.
Hank, I'm glad
People
you said
just got to
that.
do the research, though.
But
that's if you want it. You got to look to invest in your kids. You have to. And if you don't, then yeah, you're a piss poor parent.
From a cultural background where they put so much pressure on children. I saw this, what Mr. Ben would talk about in the 3rd, 4th grade. My classmate was Japanese. He got a B. I got a B minus. This boy was shaking his feet. I asked him why. He said, B's are not allowed in the household. When we get out of school, I saw his father. No disrespect. He looked like a Yakuza when he looking at his son. Dead serious. You ever see a man stone cold look at the son? All the son was doing this the whole time. Could not even look up. Shaking. Giving the paper to him. And then I realized my culture was bad. No. That other culture put so much pressure. Yes, right now, it was 2019 when Mr. Trump Whitworth Van Jones said, Nigeria the most educated ethnic group in the country. Because we have a pressure on our back that make it whereby you may leave the country, but it's still on you, like some kind of monkey spirit on your head. Like if you fail, you effed up. You know how crazy to see somebody? I told one of my daughter classmates, older sister was stuck. No, they got a house, mind you, in Brooklyn, right? All the lights are turned off. The father is the professor, the mother the nurse, and they studied under a lantern. I said, oh, no, you did not. No, you did not do what I didn't think you did. Because we were doing that back in my country, whereby If there was a blackout, screw it. You light up the candle, you still have to study. Or you go in the corner of the street where the street light and we study in the street. That did happen. Or you get a lantern, oil lantern, you light it up. That did happen. Because it was so much pressure on us to be successful. If we failed, not only we failed ourselves, we failed our family, and we failed our last name. It was embedded in us from generation to generation to be successful, not to be a failure. So if you look at the Japanese, the Chinese, and other countries who have that high level of pressure, it may be good, but at the same time, it's bad. Look at Japan, how many people had to delete themselves because of they couldn't step up to the plate. What I tell my twin brother, because that mindset, no, I get it.
But hold on, let me say this real quick, we ain't signing. My mama said A is great. B, boy, you brave. C, you crazy. D, you lost your damn mind. F, you finna get fucked up. I remember it like it was yesterday. A is great. B, you must be brave. C, you crazy. D, you lost your damn mind. F, you finna get fucked up.
You're not playing sports
and
either.
you wonder why I went away from home a couple of times.
Oh my God, my mama didn't play no games, bro.
Let me just say this real quick. I think there needs to be a healthy blend between pressure, because kids need pressure, right? High expectation, but also Mr. Bennett with compassion. Because I would say this: my father had high expectation, but he was reasonable, right? I've never gotten a beating for a bad grade. I got punishment, I got yelled at, but I never gotten beaten for a bad grade. But because he had high expectations, when I got to high school, I never had anything less than a 90 ever again, right? So that's where, you have to have a high expectation of result, right? And you can be compassionate and you can have pressure. Because when I scored a 90 on an exam, I know that's a 2-hour talk. And I'm just like, oh, God damn it, I don't want that. But however, I know that I can come home and ask my father for help also, because my parents are both educators, right? And that got me in. And then when I graduated third in my class, got a full scholarship to college, right? And I went to Wharton. So, a lot of those things paid off because of that high expectation, right? And so that's where it needs to be a blend between understanding, high expectation, and pressure, because kids need that, especially black men, because at the end of the day, whether we want it or not, being a black man in America, pressure's coming.
But let me say this, man. Let me say this right quick. I've been trying to get this in.
Go ahead, my brother. I'm sorry about that.
I have to agree with Mr. Bennett on one way, because do y'all know how many A and B high school students that graduated with A's and B's that are strippers, that are street boys, that are grades don't mean nothing to them.
Or deleted themselves. I know
yes,
freshmen, especially freshman year in college, because they were the straight A student coming out. They were on probation list freshman year because they thought, oh, well, this is like high school, and they didn't want to go home because
and one of it is because their parents never actually put the pressure on them. It wasn't that their parents necessarily put the pressure on them. It was because they were threatened. You dumb if you don't get this. You dumb. It was that. But what I'm saying is this. It ties into what Hink was saying. Preparing your kids for their future. Most people don't. If you ever hear some of these stupid ass parents that's out here, because their kid get A's and B's, they get a PS5. Because they got A's and B's, they get a car. Because they got A's and B's, and they go out there, and what do those kids end up doing? Fucking their life up. Fucking their life up because they don't make it. Hold on, because they don't do it because of their future.
Why do you reward for something they supposed to do?
Exactly.
Right. So this is what I'm saying.
Something you're supposed to do.
No, but I gotta.
But this is what I'm saying. Because of the culture of
time out. We as black people need to stop. The overwhelming majority of people who have A's and B's are not on the fucking poll. The majority of people with A's and B's go to college and graduate successfully.
But let me tell you something. You're not from. Let me tell you this. You're not from the region I'm from. You know how easy it is to graduate from an internet, a doggone school from the damn inner city. It's not hard to graduate.
One of the worst high schools in America.
Hold on. They're giving away grades, bro. They're giving away grades.
About that? We ain't saying
they're giving them away.
I went to high school in one of the worst
college
areas.
degrees the same way though.
The worst.
As long as you apply yourself, you can get your college degree.
Yeah.
Right.
Now watch this.
It ain't like it was in like it was in our day. We ain't signed it. It's different now. It ain't like it was when you and I were in school.
When I was in school,
I got two kids. Let me show you something. I got two kids. They got scholarships. One got 65,000. The other one got 45,000 in scholarships.
Fantastic. Did they have a?
One of them went to a school. One of them went to the school, the same school that Leah went to, the Detroit School of Arts.
Okay. Oh, great.
That school wasn't that school wasn't a hard school to graduate from. That was not. They were giving away grades.
My point.
The other one graduated from a public high school.
Okay.
They basically was giving away grades there. Let me tell you the difference from my kids than the other ones, because their mom and myself put more into their education. My kids was taking the SAT and the ACT since they were in 6th grade, all the way until they graduated. Dang. They also were tutored on things that they were. Bro, they may not be failing, but they were slacking in.
I hear
right?
you, but my point is this, bro. I'm not trying to discount your personal experience, but what I am saying is that I went to one of the worst schools. It was not hard to get good grades there either, right? 400 murders per year when I was growing up there. My point is this. When you look at the majority of black kids with A's and B's in the hood, let's take the hood, Detroit, Chicago, New York, Philly, Camden, right? There still are going to be better off than not. That's all I'm saying. They're still going to be better off than not. The majority.
But this is what I was just saying. When you talk to these folks that are grown people now, they're not doing anything that had to do with them concentrating in school. They didn't go to college, or if they did go to college, they went in a freshman year, they dropped out of college because they wasn't prepared, or they failed out because they wasn't prepared.
Facts.
It's one thing to talk about and put emphasis on grades. It's another thing to put emphasis on getting yourself prepared for the future. And a lot of these folks that get A's and B's are not prepared to go to college, let alone to go to and get a job.
Facts.
They haven't did anything consistent in their life.
Their EQ is
That's why
very
you would
small,
get a 22-year-old that can't even keep a damn job.
Well, but that's the point I said earlier. The education system today cannot keep up with the job market of today. That's both in high school and college, right? You're talking about kids who graduate and not even doing things in their major, but that's everybody. That's everybody. Google just said that they're no longer looking at college graduates. They're going to do their own job training.
Right? Is that a rapid fart? I'm hearing like, what is that?
Sorry, construction. I'm in my office and doing construction, so I'm sorry.
Camera
in the background.
Like eyebrows furrow. Like...
Now listen, since we're taking a small laugh here, I'm gonna add to it. You see this? It says, based in Johnson spiritual gift analysis, right? That's what it says. I would have something like this, and I would be reading, and I'll say spiritual gift and I'll say, Mama. It's the kind of pressure we had. Mama, what's this word right here?
Harry Potter?
You know what that damn word is. I said, no, I don't. What is it? You better know it by the time I get to clean this damn kitchen up. I said, what?
Hey.
I said, okay. I became a great reader because of that, because I feared that ass whooping. And I said, another. Mama said, now what's the damn word? I'm done with the kitchen. I crossed my fingers. I said, analysis. She said, that's right. Now keep on reading. Well, I'm proud of
My thing is this. See, my thing is this. Like, when like, man, the thing is this. Like, when it came to stuff like that, my mama would ask me to pronounce words for her sometimes. Like if it was something ridiculous, like she asked me to sit, and I sit there, and in seconds, I pronounce it to her just like that. Oh, okay. What's different when it's written down? I'm like, yeah. Now, when it came to math, that's when she gave me that same treatment you did. Like ma, could you help me with this? I can't. Okay, what am I paying for you to go to tutoring for? I mean, I don't know. I don't need tutors. I mean, I think she just really needed me to do something to do after school. When I was in elementary school, you know, when the days I didn't have karate. But she'd treat me just like that. You better have it figured out by the time I'm done with this over here, right? You know what I'm saying? And if I didn't, I got a whooping.
People.
I got a whooping. And then look, let me bring home a report card she didn't like.
Man,
I get a whooping, and I'd be on punishment until I got another report card.
Exactly.
A report card, not a progress report. Back then, report cards was every 6 weeks. So I had to wait 6 weeks before I could watch TV again, go outside. That includes weekends too.
Go outside with your
I couldn't play video games,
play basketball,
no phone calls,
no TV, no
phone calls, nothing for 6 weeks. And here's the thing, JT.
The majority of parents is like that now.
No. Now, JT, here's the thing. One time,
I don't know if that approach works for everybody. Like
I know, but here's the thing.
That's my own thing.
It didn't work for me either, Mr. Ben.
I was pissed every day.
Wait, it didn't work for me either. Because one time I brought home.
They'll take their phone for one day and they give it back the next.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, one time I brought home a B in English, and my mom was like, "What is this? You never made a B in English," and I got a whooping and punishment until the next report card. I was in the 9th grade. I'll never forget it. I was in the 9th grade. And I was in the 9th grade. I mean, I
look at Mr. Bennett's face.
I brought home a B in English. I thought that was the most
ridiculous. You was gonna get your ass whooped.
It seemed like right, JT. That was ridiculous. I was like,
a B means so in your case, a B means a beating. That's what.
Right, exactly. I was like, I brought home a B in English.
Class,
never brought home a B in English.
We're talking about school class. A is excellent. B is for your brave. C is for you.
Not for Mandrell. No, B is a beating.
Yeah, I got a whooping and punishment for the next report card. Yeah, even then, Mr. Bennett, I was like,
Mandrell, I think they just looking for reason to put hands on you.
I think so too. That was crazy. You never made her.
You never made a B in English. Hold on. You must have jumped off the building or what? And they didn't catch you, so they were just punishing you for something else that you were doing.
What? No.
Hey,
you jumped off a house, didn't you?
Not that time.
No, that time. No. That time. No, they're just waiting for the sleep.
All right, we're gonna get final thoughts.
I misspelled.
We're gonna get final thoughts. We're gonna start with Black David first. Go ahead, Black David.
You muted, David.
I'm gonna play this. This had to be a two-part show.
You muted, Black David.
So much.
You muted.
I'm muted. I'm not muted.
You're
good. You're good.
I can't hear you.
Do
not start again. Do not start again with me, Black David.
Yeah.
Or what?
Okay, go ahead.
And I came from the gym. I'm working for both of us. You want to play that video?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll just make it so this had to be a two-part show because I remember what Mandrell was talking about happened to me in 2nd grade. Every word I cannot spell correctly in my test, I got my ass whooped. I had to do it all over again. If I misspell it right there, I get my ass whooped. So that was the 2nd grade. When you have African parents who are complete old school.
Man, damn that. You ain't have to have no African parents. We got our ass whooped from time to potty train up until we were big kids, bro.
You had the belt.
You piss on that floor if you want to.
No, I got an extension cord, 2x4.
Yeah.
Twitch.
You ain't telling me nothing. What you talking about?
Ain't nothing you saying is foreign.
Yeah, nothing you saying is foreign. I got my ass whooped. I thought my mom was Xena Warrior Princess with the fucking extension cord till I was 17 years old.
But naked.
Shit, my mama can hit me around the corner with one.
But naked. But naked. Nah, I have to beat you.
But go ahead, but Black David, man, thank you for being here, my brother.
I'm gonna say that I know the educational system, but parents, you cannot be slacking off.
Number one,
you just can't. I don't care what the case may be. If you have to spend time like
number two,
I'm charging for the voiceover. Too many shows are doing my voiceover right now. It's not fair. I'm not making money off that.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hank was right. If you had to take the time out to help your kid in the study, do that. I do it, my wife do it, because we realize the public school system will try to fail your kid one way or the other. You cannot sleep on them. I want to take my kid back to Africa to learn better. To be honest, my wife will not gonna let me, so it ain't gonna happen. So I gotta be stuck here and hope for the best. But you guys, as parents, don't sleep on your kids. Invest time in your kid. I don't care what it is. You have to. Just like Hank said, he's on point. So that's my final thought.
I appreciate you, man. We got Hink up next. Hink, give us your final thoughts, my guy.
Black man, please protect yourself at all times. Do what you have to do. You know what I'm saying? Get your blood work. Go get your colonoscopy check. Get your prostate. Hey. Please do it. I had an appointment today. Go get my blood work checked. So it has to be done. You know, I want to be on this world as long as I can, so I can conquer this son of a bitch. So, Black man, please do what you got to do.
All right, man. Much love to Hank, my boy. Thank you so much for being here, my brother. I appreciate you, man. All right. Who we got up next? All right, let's see here. We got my boy. Let's see. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. What's your final thoughts, my guy? Okay, so
I would just say that I think the point that I would like to make in the final thoughts is that I think it's on the parent to do what they can to give their child the best education. And I think that, you know, there was part of the conversation, I wish we could have went a little deeper into it, but part of that is going to be being intentional about when you have kids, the circumstances that you have the kids in, because I think before you even create the problem, you can solve it. So that's it.
All right, man. Thank you so much, K-Soul. Kiss my niece for me. All right, man. Thank you for being here. All right, my boy JT from What We Know Podcast.
All right, man. Listen, I believe the children are the future.
Teach them
well,
and let them
lead the way.
Show them what?
Show them all the beauty they possess inside.
Yeah. Even this one.
Oh. Why you gotta do that to me, man? Don't do that.
Did you see Mr. Bill?
It's Tuesday. It is Tuesday. We don't need all this. Quit toying with me.
Mr. Bill said no. Go ahead.
But those words are actually very, 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 very true words. If parents thought about that with their own children and they listen to those lyrics, they can be, just like my man just said, intentional when it comes down to rearing those children. The problem we have right now is, and we didn't go deep into this either, our people are getting dumber by the day. They're not resourceful. They want someone to give them something, especially when it comes down to, it's not education anymore, it's instructions. And so I can tell you right now, in the words of Mandrell, it's over. It's over. Until we fix this, it's over. You can find me on What We Know Podcast with me and my boy Rob. This Saturday, for sure, we definitely going to be doing the show.
Saturday, bro. I was looking for you.
What the show is going to be about is it all depends on how well me and Mandrell's conversation go tomorrow.
Oh, you coming to my show tomorrow?
I'm coming with vengeance.
Vengeance up against what?
So my show's topic is gonna be based off of how well me and Mandrell's conversation go tomorrow.
Are you gonna come? You a Kanye apologist? You defend.
I'm not giving nobody a
Okay, so you defend Sambos.
But now, man, hold on, Mandrell. Before
Bring
you
it on.
Hold on, JT. Let me say this before I get everybody else final thoughts. I called Mandrell today. Mandrell, don't you say nothing, because you got to keep all your info for tomorrow for your show, okay?
Okay.
You have to level that shit out too now. But anyway, so Mandrell, I told Mandrell, I said everything that Kanye does is calculated. He put the White Lives Matter shirt on. 4 days later, he was on every news channel in the world. Right? 3 days later,
CNBC, Fox,
MSNBC, CNN,
drink champs, everything.
Then he did the interview at Champ, right? The drinking champs. Right after that, and then that's when he got into the rap culture. Then so everybody saw him go off on that channel. So now everybody's Kanye West. He's the #1 trending name in the world. Now after that, they announced Candace Owens is coming out with her own cell phone, which is called the Freedom Phone.
This is very calculated.
Do you know who pays her? Who does Candace Owens work for? It start with a P. The company.
Parler, ain't it?
Right
Parler,
which
he just
bought Parler. The motherfucker, he's so calculated. It's ridiculous, bro. Like all this shit ain't no big coincidence, bro.
No, Mandrell, we gonna have real conversation. You know how I am, bro. I don't. First and foremost, I don't follow anybody, and I don't have to. I'm not one of those guys that try to make excuses for people, and I'm not the type of person that tries to save a person, especially when they don't know who the fuck I am. But I am here to have critical conversation.
By all means.
So I definitely be that, brother.
By all means.
No doubt about it.
So much.
But you ain't gonna never get a bicker out of me. We'll argue, but we won't bicker with
Absolutely,
each other.
man. Absolutely. All right, man. My boy all the way from Michigan, baby. Give it up for JT, What We Know Podcast.
Hey.
Yeah.
Better recognize.
See you in a minute, man. See you in a minute. All right.
Didn't even know where his sign was.
All right. He's animated. What are your final thoughts?
Good parenting. A good parent remembers how it was to be a kid. So I agree with how Mr. Bennett says he's raising his kids, stuff like that. It's a good balance. You know, you want to push for the best on your kids, but you also don't want to block them by putting their mindset into a negative space. So there has to be balance. Let's see. Balance. Oh, I can't remember what else I was gonna say.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Beautiful Animated, for being here tonight.
Beautifully Animated on YouTube, Beautifully Animated Speaks, and IG, Beautifully Animated White Space.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get my boy in here, Mandrell. What are your final thoughts? Then I'll pull up your thumbnail for tomorrow, and you can tell everybody about your show. You don't have to go into anything though. You don't want to give everybody too much.
I got you. Final thoughts. We're fucked. There's too much to fix, and not enough people who are willing to do the work to fix it.
Care enough.
Yeah. There's not enough of us, and it's too much to fix because you have to fix this. You have to start fixing things in the that cause the socio-economic situation we have now. Right. You have to start in order to fix education. You have to fix some of that, not all of it, some of it, and that means some people are going to lose money. Nobody likes to lose money. You know what I mean? So we're kind of screwed, dude. I mean, all I can say is parents. First of all, congratulations on being a parent. That's a blessing in itself. Other than that, do the best you can. That's all I can say. Teach your kids cursive, even though the schools are not teaching it. That's going to be important, regardless. Because if your kids can't write, I'm going to make fun of them. Okay? And
but cursive is not right. Cursive is a part of writing, but you can print. People print very well.
Yeah, first graders. Not adults. Not adults.
Dude, if I sign something, it'll be because they asked me to sign something at the store. I just do this and go. I know how to write in cursive, but Shit, I don't.
Yeah, but don't let me catch you doing that. I'm gonna make fun of you.
I ain't right now.
Hey, look, you're gonna feel okay. You're gonna
talk
feel
about your damn show tomorrow. Shut the hell up.
You're gonna feel like that buzzard in that Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Yeah, talk about your damn show and shut up.
Oh no, my mama done told me to get something for dinner. Yes. Unapologetic with Mandrell and Shushu. We will be talking about Candace Owens and Kanye West, and how Kanye West is no genius.
What's their names again, Mandrell?
Candace Owens and Kanye West. And you misspelled Kanye, right? It's spelled KKK. It's 3 K's in Kanye. Okay.
I hate Mandrell so much.
You misspelled. I saw the thumbnail. You did misspell Kanye's name.
Oh my God. Can you explain the thumbnail? What does it mean?
Well, the thumbnail, I mean, you see how these uppity niggas here are sitting here watching the rest of us toil and do the best that we can to make it in life. You know what I mean? Most of us are just trying to get by, but these two, especially Candace, she sold us out for real. Okay? Candace doesn't even believe any of the shit she says on her own program, her own platform, but she does it for money. Now, Kanye, he does the same thing. He goes out of his way to take shots at black people and slight black people, but then he comes up with some nonsensical reason, as if it's some kind of avant-garde, out of the box thinking way, like, no, see, the black people are Hebrews. And see, he actually thought black people were Hebrews, and that's where he fucked up. He thought black people were actually Jews, and so he talked bad about Jews, and look what happened to his ass. 2 days later, he's seen in a black restaurant eating soul food. No, nigga, you can't come back to us. Fuck you forever. He goes out of his way to make white supremacists feel validated and feel good about themselves. He spends all this time seeking white validation, and not validation from black people. Hold on.
Mandrell.
No,
tomorrow.
wait. What?
Tomorrow.
Why?
Tomorrow.
I'm on a roll.
You got a whole show on this tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I really didn't lose myself here. I really didn't lose myself there, man. I'm not. That wasn't everybody. I wasn't putting on. I wasn't acting. I really did lose myself in that.
Lord have mercy. You need some of this.
Stop still and listen to me. God walked down to the bandit sea. He declared that he was the central man, and then he decided to destroy the land.
Hey, shout out to Information Man.
And shout out to Information Man. I like that brother, Information Man. But people, please tune in. If you can defend Kanye, okay, I'm gonna tell you right off the top. Okay, fuck you. You can't come either. But,
ladies and gentlemen, that was Mandrell. He's so animated. He loves Kanye West so much, and I just want to make sure that everybody understands to tune in tomorrow. I'm gonna have a talk with him tomorrow, because I think I'm saying it. I think Kanye wants to come on the show and have a conversation with Mandrell tomorrow. I already set it up. I want to see how that's going to go. All right, all the way from Shanghai, China. Give it up for my boy. We ain't signing. We ain't signing. What are your final thoughts?
First, thank you for allowing me on your panel. A great conversation as always. First takeaway is Mandrell is the most uppity nigga I know.
Oh wow!
So from this conversation,
yeah.
And second, I just want to say this. It's clear that education is very different from when we took it. You now have to supplement your education. I mean, even the market agrees that education, even at the university level, high school level, no longer prepares children and our kids for a middle class lifestyle, right? Education in general is just out of touch with the new market, so you have to supplement. And the last thing I'll say is this: parenting actually starts before you have children, and a good parent only fucks raw when they can afford good supplemental education for their children. And I'll sign out on that.
You're muted.
Say again.
No, Black Man, you're muted.
Black Man, you're muted.
Oh, my bad. All the way from Shanghai, China. Give it up for yours truly. We ain't signing in the building tonight. Thank you so much. We ain't signing, man. And thank you for being here, brother. Man, please come and get some control of your boy tomorrow on the show. Please.
I'm a Kanye fan, bro, so I'm not invited. I think Kanye is great. So
you think he's a musical genius? Do you think he's a musical genius?
I think he's a musical genius, and even more so, I think he's a business genius, right? He went from $50 million in debt to billionaire status.
Right. So thank you so much. We ain't signing for being here tonight. Yeah. Tomorrow night, Mandrell's in the back right now. He's saying words that I can't even bring him back up saying. So see him tomorrow night on the show. Thank you so much, man. All right. Now, Brenda, thank Brenda for being here tonight. Brenda, thank you for being in the comments tonight. You have really been pouring into this conversation. I'm glad we had a conversation that you could tie yourself to. Brenda said, I love cursive. It's the only way people can read my handwriting. If you try to read my handwriting, good luck. It takes patience for me to write properly. Yeah, that is for some people, for sure.
Yeah, but that's one of the reasons why I think it's also going away. One, because fewer people are using it as an everyday form of communication, but then also there's no standardization. I remember, being a teachers back in the day trying to read some other person's, or sometimes we would have to read another student's handwriting.
Right.
And it was just difficult to get to. So I think, we're living in this land of, everybody wants something efficient and, and standard across the board. So again, just the printed type, go back to the printing press from 500 years ago. And that's where we are now. It was just cursive was just a slow death. And so really the only people who are going to be looking at needing cursive, if you want to read historical documents, letters from presidents and other people who've written things or whatever. I mean, certainly cursive would be beneficial there, but these days it's just not a practical form of communication. So I think that's also part of it as well. But I appreciate it. This was a great show tonight. And certainly there's so many layers to this. I mean, again, America is a complicated country. I don't think we have an identity in terms of our system. Like I said, we don't have a purely capitalist system nor social system. And again, we're a diverse group of people with just different ways of thinking about how to approach these matters. I certainly can appreciate the video and some of the aspirations that he had for young people, but I just think a country is going to gear its educational system for its needs. And we're still in a mostly industrial age where they just want people to go into jobs. So you're going to have the standardized form of education, and it's going to get worse as automation starts to take over. So we want all these creatives and all these people exploring all their gifts and talents, but with automation taking away fewer jobs. So again, in terms of you being viable in this economy, unless you're going to go the entrepreneurial route, which is not guaranteed for everybody, not everybody's really built to be an entrepreneur, you're going to have a lot of people looking at on the outside looking in, and we don't have the social safety nets of like a Finland or whatever to support people for you to just pursue where your talents take you. So it's a precarious position. So the only thing I can just recommend, as said earlier, as far as for parents, like I said, what I try to do in my home, not as a prescription for anyone, I've tried to prepare my daughters for success by one, creating an environment that's conducive to learning, okay, keeping the drama. So again, for a husband and wife,
right,
you just having a good marriage is also beneficial to your children's education because they don't have to worry about the drama of having instability in their home life. I grew up with a lot of instability in my home life, and it affected me academically. So one of the first things is my wife and I having a stable marriage is a big way how you can help to further your children's education. But then also, again, I base my results based on their work, on their efforts. Did you do what you needed to do in order to get things done? If you're struggling in an area, ask for help, and ask for everybody. If you need help, go and ask for it. And again, I believe God opens up windows for those. If you pray with faith and ask for the resources that you need, God will provide for you. So again, put yourself in those positions where you can get the tools, the tutoring. People give tutoring free just because it's a benefit and they just have a gift they just want to share with people. There's been so many people who've helped us with our daughters over the years that had no incentive to do so, and it wasn't always based on money. But the expectation for me is, again, I want to say, I care about, what you're thinking. I care about how you solve problems. I care about how you come back from a failure. To me, it's less important that you never had a failure. But again, if you fell, if you did get a C or even a D, God forbid, how can we rebound from this? What can we do to get back up, shake the dust off, get back on the horse, and let's try this thing again. Let's try a different approach this time. How to work out and sort out problems, because in life, you're going to have these problems. So learning how to deal with adversity, how to deal with loss, how to deal with failure, and how you can come back and be better for it and learn something from it, and hopefully it teaches you some humility, then those are things that are more invaluable to me. And I think that better shapes your character as a human being. So I never tie my love or my devotion to my daughters to their grades. But again, I believe if I put in the work to make sure that they're affirmed, make sure that they're loved, and set the proper environment, the grades and the results will take care of themselves. And certainly God has been with us, and so far so good on this end. I'm about to graduate another one. Come May, we'll have another one out. And my oldest one, she's going to take a year off from work, but she's preparing for medical school in 2024. So we're just going to continue the path that we've been put on. But it's just important for us that we create this environment where they can thrive and they can be their best selves. But we just so right now I feel myself more in a mentorship role more than a parent now. Just how to navigate adulthood. At this point, and so it's a great time to be in for us. So, but again, great conversation today. I'm sure you can do a part 2 and 3 on this if you wanted to.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate the brother who was on earlier. He dropped some really good facts. I would love to see what was his name again? Harrison Family Values. Excellent content, brother. Really appreciate your perspective. You really, share some things that I think a lot of people need to know, because I saw early in the comments, a lot of people were, putting out things, it's the government, it's this or that or whatever. So again, I think you were able to level set the conversation for everything that came after that. So I really appreciate you for doing that. But thank you, Black Man, again, for everything you do. And again, I encourage everyone, again, if you're not a member or subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And consider being a member to this channel, because again, he's bringing quality content to all of us that we can benefit from, and so I think we're all better for it. So again, thank you again, Black Man, for everything you do for us.
Absolutely. Now you said God, if you pray about it. So if you prayed about her, do you think that she'll make it?
If I pray about who? Oh, well, again, you can pray all you want, but you got to put the work in also. God also made razors and depilatories and laser surgeries and all kinds of methods and whatnot for you to do stuff. So again, I still believe in the boat, the flood in the boat analogy, where God will send the helicopter in the boat. So he sent you razors, depilatory creams, Brazilian clinics. He sent you all the stuff that's available. And if you don't take advantage of that, then God can't help you. So look, that's where I'm at. Faith without works is dead. So definitely you got to put some work in.
You got to put the work in.
Absolutely.
All right, Mr. Bennett, hopefully you're good tomorrow. I will send you the link tomorrow for the Sports Show 1-1. They're going to be talking about Deontay Wilder with that first round knockout.
That was a great boxing weekend. There were several fights that went on this weekend, and so that was great to see. And I'll be there to pick up the pieces for the Dallas Cowboy fans, and also those Baltimore Ravens fans. You guys know who you are. Were giving me shade last week. I'm gonna see you tomorrow.
And also, Mr. Bennett, the Steelers, they play the Cowboys this weekend.
Do they? I gotta look at this. I haven't been paying. I just taken the game. We played the Dolphins this weekend.
Y'all beat Tampa Bay though, right?
Yes, we did.
Wow. Yeah, and I can't believe the Giants. Hey,
the buzz around here, the Jets and the Giants. Jets are 4-2, Giants are 5-1. So the buzz around here, everyone's happy in this area. I mean, the drivers, people wave at you differently or whatever. So the vibe around here has been very good, and especially with the Cowboys losing here too, that makes a lot of people feel very good as well.
Absolutely. So. Well, I can't wait till the show tomorrow, man. We're gonna cover Deontay and that whole thing. I think Clarissa Shields. She
fought too. She did her thing. It was great. It was great. It was a great weekend of boxing for sure.
Absolutely. So we'll cover all that tomorrow at 7:00 Central Standard Time, 1-on-1 Sports Show. So you guys tune into that as well. Hit the like button, subscribe button. Thank you so much, Mr. Bennett. I'll see you tomorrow for the show.
Have a good night, everybody. Take care.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, another good show in the books. We reacted last night. We had a show today about the education system. Hey guys, listen, if any subjects that you think that we need to discuss, that you think this panel is prepared for and geared for, please don't hesitate to email me at blackmanunfiltered@gmail.com with your subject and with your ideas. And I definitely will put it up and definitely will also have you on if you would like to come on to discuss whatever you email me about. So please email me, blackmanunfiltered@gmail.com, anything that you feel that if we need to address, anything that we need to take care of, because you know that we talk about things that most people are not talking about. Name one platform right now that's talking about the education system right now, that's on actually right now, right? Nobody, right? So we're talking about relationships, but sometimes we have to veer off from those things and talk about other things, because other things do matter as well. So thank you guys so much for being here tonight. It has been a pleasure being your host again tonight on behalf of me and Black Man Unfiltered Network and everybody that was on the panel tonight. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Thank you for the cash apps. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for being in the chat. Thank you for the subscriptions. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for everything that you do, because without you, none of this is possible. All right. So thank you so much, guys. Y'all have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow on the 1-on-1 Sports Show at 7:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then you'll be able to see Mandrell and Shushu and Unapologetic at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And they'll be talking about Kanye and Candace on tomorrow. All right. You guys have a good night. We out.